Hello everyone, my name is Christian, welcome to my hobby blog. Today we are doing book 3 of The Wheel of Time. We are doing The Dragon Reborn. It's a very exciting book in my opinion, one of my favorites in the first half. And today we have joining us Alf, who is returning on this first reader experience. Welcome back.
Hey, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Very excited too.
There's a lot of stuff in this book. I mean, this is the first book that I read from, knowing that I was going to love it from the beginning. I mean, it just starts off so well. And I reread the prologue today, just kind of to pad out the prologue, because there's a lot of, foreshadowing and setups in that prologue. And I was like, wow, this is so spicy. I love this prologue. And I had that same reaction my first time, so...
Nice.
So let's go into fun facts first. So the first one is, I think we talked about already, that this was... The first 3 books were going to be one book, and of course that could not happen, and we're happy it did not happen. But,
yes, definitely.
The original ending for book 1 was Rand raising Calendar and proclaiming himself the dragon in the original outline, which is really cool. I like that.
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, I actually got the feeling as I was finishing this book that the whole final sequence of events had like a taste of finishing something, like a finishing arc or a finishing saga or a finishing book. Actually, it has the taste. Sorry, it feels like the closure of something. It has finally accepted and become this thing. He has like something that is making him sure that he is the Dragon Reborn. So yeah, I can definitely see that as the original idea for book 1. But good thing it was not just one book with all of these things.
Yeah, originally it was a 6-book series. I think he got a contract for 3, and the publisher was like, no, we know you. You're going to have it be long, so we're going to double it, 6. It ended up being 14. With the original...
15.
Yeah. With the original book 12, after Knife of Dreams, was going to be called A Memory of Light. And Brandon got the outline, because everything was kind of outlined for the most part for the final book, before RJ passed. And Brandon was like, that's not happening. And he tried to do it. But it's just... RJ jokes about how you need to bring a wheelbarrow with you to Barnes & Noble get the final book. So
yeah. I mean, I understand that this happens in fantasy. The worlds get just too big. So many characters. It's understandable.
It's a famous quote by Tolkien. The tale grew in the telling. Which I love that.
Yes.
But the next fun fact that I have is that this is one I found out recently, and it kind of blew my mind. But originally Rand was going to blow the horn. I should have had this last book, but I didn't have this fact at the time. But it was going to be Rand.
Well, actually, that would have made sense, don't you think?
Yeah, but the reason, because there's an outline, because RJ spent 6 years outlining the series before he even wrote book 1. And,
wow.
Originally, because they have the notes for the most part, it's in South Carolina, which is a couple hours away from me. I need to go down there and see his notes one day. It's just
you can see them?
Yeah, you have to, it's at
Are
the
they
college.
available?
Yeah. It's at the college library. You have to ask, you can't go in with the phone, you can't take pictures, nothing.
Makes sense.
I think you have a pen and paper you can go with. That's it. And in that notes, Rand blows the horn. And RJ, as he wrote it, he realized, oh my gosh, Rand would be so powerful if he had that. So he gave it to Matt.
He nerfed him. He had to nerf Rand.
Yeah.
And still, he is very powerful.
And I actually agree with him a lot, because it really makes Matt more important. Because before he blows the horn, he's just friend who hangs around, for the series.
Yeah.
And that's the moment where he becomes, super important. all the Aes Sedai want him, and
Yeah.
There's another fun fact that I have later, which I'll touch on once we get to that scene, that
Okay.
was different from the original outline. But the last fun fact that I have here, which is found in the early notes, is that Matt and Galad originally were gonna hate each other throughout the entire series, and so that duel that they have when Matt is like a badass with the quarterstaff, that was gonna be our first like foreshadowing to that plot line, but he ended up dropping that, and he kept the scene because it was awesome and like fun, but he doesn't really do that, so they don't hate each other. They're pretty separate.
Everyone hates Galad.
I honestly kind of loved him by the end, but I hated him at this point.
You hated him by this point? Oh, I don't.
Well, not at this point, but like, there's a point much later that I finally kind of got him.
He's normal. I mean, I don't hate him. He's like a paladin, a true legal paladin with good intentions. So far he hasn't done anything important. He's just there, being cute, by the way. Apparently being very hot as well. But he's okay. I don't know. I will see. I'm curious about him, where he ends up going.
Yeah, all these characters will have a major arc. That's really all I can say. So, wait and find out, I trust you. I don't want to drop a Rafa before we even start talking about the book, but...
Yeah, this is our first Rafa, this book. Go ahead and use your badge, your Rafa badge.
So, what's your initial reactions with this book? Did you love it? Did you hate it? I doubt you hated it, but...
No, of course I didn't hate it. My reaction is that I enjoyed it so much that I couldn't stop reading. I pretty much binged the back half of the book because it was so interesting. And I mean, by the end, I have some issues with the end, but I can say overall that I really enjoyed it, and I can see how everyone loves this saga. I am very curious about how the characters keep getting even more developed, and I love how you get like attached to them. It's only book 3, and now I am already very attached to them, so I'm having a great time. I keep having a great time. Yes.
Well, as I said,
but I don't know if this would be my favorite book in all the saga. I think like I could expect more by the following ones. I got that feeling.
Yeah, because one thing to note is that, as you said, the ending to this book is very like final. It's like this is the finality of this like section, and and my book 5 episode with Shay, I talked about how I have a feeling that it's going to be like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where we have your phases, where it's like, okay, phase 1, it ends with the first Avengers movie. Then we have, ends with Ant-Man, and he's going to have a big part in the next, it keeps going like that. And I said the first phase was books 1 to 3, and so we are now entering phase 2, which is really exciting. And
I can see that.
Like, now our characters are just going to get better. Like, better written, better stories. I mean, because Rand is no longer fighting his, like, I'm not the dragon reborn. I'm not, I'm just a farmer. And he's accepted it. So now he can go on and become,
and he's got
better.
Confirmation. Like, big time confirmation that he is. So there's no way out now.
I'm really happy you put down the quote that he says to himself at the end, because that is like, it's still that that war-headed idiot, as you said in the comments, was like, yes, you're the Dragon Reborn, but no, this isn't the last battle. No, you did not kill the Dark One. Like, so
yeah,
he doesn't know there's 11 more books.
He doesn't know that, definitely. Yeah, but if I mean, something else I keep doing is comparing the Wheel of Time with the Stormlight Archive, because I mean, I try not to do so. I don't want to do so, but my head keeps doing it. Like, I don't have control of that. And this doesn't feel the same way as the third book in the Stormlight Archive. I think because the Stormlight will be shorter. I hope. I don't know. I think it will be shorter than Wheel of Time. But this, I don't think we have this big climax of events and stuff being revealed. I think we are still going to the point in which we have a big reveal, and from there on the characters have to like start acting, being powerful. I think we are still in the phase in which they are working and progressing towards being like more capable of intervening in the things that are happening. But yeah, I mean, that's the reason why they are being underestimated by their enemies, and that's bad for them. Because they keep winning, you know? They keep winning, these guys, the good guys. So yeah, I'm curious. Very curious.
There are definitely books where you have that big ending. I don't know whether to confirm which books they are, because then you're gonna be very anticipating it. But at the same time, I knew ahead of time which books were huge. So I'm grappling that right now. Do you want to know, just number, which books have huge endings?
Yes, I do.
I would say 5 is the one. There's a reason it's my favorite book. At least top 3.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense, because book 5 would feel like more of a, not middle point, because it's not the middle, but the previous big bang boom of the first half. That makes sense that if the saga is 14 books long, that happens in the 5th. So yeah, I could see that happening, definitely.
So there's 5, and then 6 is probably, don't know how to say which type of big, but it's huge. It's a huge ending. And we don't have really a big one until 9. And then the Sanderson, each novel of his is huge at the end, because it was supposed to be one book, and just a huge avalanche all the way through. So.
Yeah. Wow, avalanche books. That experience must be insane.
Yeah, I read the last 400 pages of the last book in like a day. So, and I don't do
Mamma
that.
mia. Mamma mia. Oh, something I kept thinking about as I was reading the book, and something that actually enhanced my experience a lot, was that I keep finding parallels with Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, the book is called The Dragon Reborn, so that definitely sounds like the perfect name for a D&D campaign. But I don't know, it's amazing. Stuff like, I don't know, Aes Sedai, they are like a multi-class between a sorcerer and a wizard, and because you can't have access to becoming an Aes Sedai if you don't have like this innate power inside of you. So that would make you like initially at least level 1 a sorcerer or a sorceress, and then you have to study to become a wizard to be more powerful. And I love how Nynaeve's powers work as if she was a barbarian, but a magical one. Like, if you were to make a sorcerer that was actually a barbarian, that's Nynaeve, and I love that. That's amazing.
I remember when I was reading this book, because I did the same thing. I would think about D&D while reading this. And when I got to the 3rd book and I read the little pitch, I guess at the end, or at the back of the book, I think my copy has it. No, it doesn't. Okay, I guess I saw it on Goodreads, where they described what the book was going to be about, and it was like, Rand has to go hunt down the magical sword, not a sword, Kalimdor. And I was like, this is so D&D. Like, having to go get the sword.
Definitely. Yeah, and there are a lot of stuff because I didn't expect, since I was told before starting the saga that this planet or world is our same world but in the far future, I didn't expect anything like a Grolm or pretty much any of these creatures that are not like anything we have in the real life. So that was very, very reminiscent of the monster manual and D&D. The weird creatures that we keep seeing. These dark hounds, the grolms, the trollocs, definitely. The trollocs are like low-level, low difficulty class enemies.
They're definitely that.
So yeah,
they're just body.
they're very funny.
Whatever, fodder. They're not threatening. The Meodral, I think, are like, your 4th level creatures. They're a little dangerous. And there's stuff above that. There's a creature you'll meet that's really powerful that I'm excited for you to see and connect which D&D creature it is. I know there's one in my head right now that I'm thinking, I wonder if RJ was a fan of D&D.
He probably was. He has to have been. Yeah. Oh, and by each book I keep reading, I can say that as I have finished each book, I get more sad about the fact that he died and he couldn't finish the books. I keep thinking, oh, I'm so excited about next book and how all of this is going to end, and then I remember he didn't get to see the last battle. I mean, he wrote it. He wrote the lines. He wrote like notes, stuff, but he didn't get to see the final book, to grab the book with his hands. That makes me so sad. So sad. So yeah. It's terrible.
When I found that interview on YouTube and I watched that, because I was like, there's no spoilers, surely. And there wasn't any spoilers. And there's a story he talks about like 3 years before he passed. So I think it was filmed in 2004 and he passed in 2006, I think. But he's like talking to a show host, and book 10 just came out and they didn't know he had one more book. Well, he may have known. It was really like right before he died that he kind of told people on his blog, like, hey, I'm sick, by the way. But he in that he talks about how he met somebody at Union Square where his son was in the hospital, and he loved the books and he couldn't go and meet RJ, so he sent his dad and had him sign it and all that stuff. And listening to RJ talk about that, he just said like that's gonna stick with me till I die. Like that story of the son who they knew he was gonna die and he was in the hospital bed reading real time, because it was just such a big part of his life.
Yeah, that was, oh my god, so heartbreaking. Because I was doing stuff as I was listening to that interview. I was like, washing the dishes, and I don't know, tidying the place, and then suddenly I was like, oh no, this is so terrible, because RJ asked the father of this kid or this person, and hey, I hope he gets better, hope it's not too bad, and the man said it's cancer, and yeah, he passed away. I was like, no, he didn't get to see the end. No, that was so sad. Yeah, I mean, we can get sad about that, or we could like think about all the future generations that have this full saga to read, because even if he passed, Robert Jordan, we get the saga finished, and by someone who is pretty much awesome. So yeah, there's like thousands of new people that will be able to read and enjoy, even if he couldn't. So I guess he'll be happy with that.
What's really nice about the final 3 books is that there are a couple scenes that he wrote before he died, where he was writing, the big book 12, and he just realized, like, I'm not going to finish this. So he just started laying the groundwork for, he didn't know it was going to be Brandon, but Brandon ended up finishing it. And he wrote some really key scenes. He wrote the epilogue of the final book, which is really nice, because you get to it and you can just tell it's RJ, and it's like very emotional to like read that. So I'm like like getting teary here, because like
Yeah,
it's
I
really
understand
good.
that.
So
It's absolutely amazing that he decided to write the epilogue himself, knowing his condition, his situation.
Brandon didn't touch
so yeah,
it,
we're very grateful.
Well, there's one part he touched, but that was because he had no notes on one character at all on his ending. Or, their ending. So. But yeah, should we move on to the book? So I don't go too far.
So we don't start crying in here. Yeah, definitely. Oh, I want to know just one thing before we start. I want to know which is the book that you think is going to make me cry the most, and also which one is the one that made you feel more emotional.
Oh,
probably the last. I don't know. What do you think?
So I'm thinking more moments that will make you cry, because endings very rarely will make you cry. There's a moment.
That's true.
Yeah.
Not endings.
Yeah, there's a huge moment in book 4 actually that you're reading that is very kind of low key that I think you'll cry. A lot of people do. That it's just very I guess sobering to read. There's a sequence that in book 4 too that is pretty kind of major, crying. I'm trying to think through. There's one thing in the final book, because it is the final one, the last battle. Lots of crying moments then in that book. But it's really, maybe it's Tears of Triumph is these books of getting over obstacles, or sometimes you'll have a moment where you find out life was still going on in one area of the world that the characters haven't been to in a while, and they go back and it's totally changed. It's a very hobbits returning back to the Shire moment, where they come back and nobody knows Frodo destroyed the ring, and they just have no idea. And it's really sobering for our characters when that happens.
Oh, I can see that. Right. Okay, that's amazing. I'm gonna pay attention to that.
I'll try to think of any others, because there's just so much in this series, so I would have to organize.
Yeah, it's a long one.
I'll make a note.
Okay, so The Dragon Reborn, Book 3. Do you want to start with the prologue, for example?
Yes, let's go in order of the notes. I'm gonna type this note into the Discord chat and I'll pen it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, I penned it. Okay. Do you want to lead, or do you want me to?
Oh, the prologue you lead, because I don't have the ability to keep straight the name of all of these. Oh, please don't make me lead in the Children of Light chapters. Don't do that to me.
That's a good note, because I had no idea what was going on either when I read this the first time. It's when I finally read it today, I was like, oh, this is so spicy. I love this. But, yeah. So, Padan Fane, who is now called Ordeath, shows up, and he's the counselor now of the Children of the Light. And the leader is Pedron Nile. He's pretty competent. I kind of like him, although he's kind of doing the wrong stuff. He is talking to Jacob Carradine, who is the leader of the Questioners, who are the Torturers, and they are very much guilty until proven guilty. There's no way they're going to accept that, you are not guilty. It doesn't matter. They're gonna call you a Dark Friend and kill you and torture you until you say you are a Dark One or Dark Friend, just so they can kill you and hang you instead of getting tortured. So, very bad people. Jacob Carradine is told to keep Rand alive because, he's gonna cause a lot of chaos to the land, and they can come in and save them from this, civil war or just general mayhem that's going to happen now that Rand is the Dragon Reborn. And so Pedro says something really pretty awesome, where he says, like, let loose a wild lion into a market square, and then 5 minutes later, go get that lion. People won't know you let it loose, So it's the same kind of philosophy with Rand. So you really get to see them do that, kind of, where they will be taking advantage of a situation that they caused. Well, I wouldn't say caused, but...
They allowed a situation they allowed to happen. Because they could have, like...
Yeah. So they can recruit to this
that was so dirty.
Organization.
That was so dirty, but at the same time, I get that faction has the need to work like that. It makes sense. If I was on their side, I would be like, yeah, that's pretty good, that's smart. Since I'm not, I'm like, oh, you dirty douchebag. but yeah, made a lot of sense. But this questioner guy, he did not appreciate that tactic. He was like, He did not like that at all.
Yeah, and I love the end of that POV, because we get 2 POVs, this prologue. Pedro Nile and Jacob Carradine. Pedro Nile says something like, oh, this guy named Perrin, he killed a couple of our white cloaks. He says he's from the Two Rivers. Maybe we should go pay them a visit. And we don't hear anything again. Like the book, this book, from them. And that is so, like, like, for us readers, because we're like, we love Perrin, we love the Two Rivers, we love Senbui, even if he's a grumpy old man. Like, we don't want anything to happen to the Two Rivers. So, that's really,
same here.
Like, it sets it up. So, I love that.
I don't know if you remember this. Yeah, that was definitely going to come back at some point. I was like, Mamma mia, this is bad, but I will see, and then it doesn't happen in this book, so I'm like worried. But I would like to know if you remember which was the Children of Light who captured Erwin and Perrin in book 1.
That was
it actually Pedro Nial?
I believe it was Jeffrem and Dane Bornhold, who was the father-son
Oh, the
duo.
Bornhold.
The father died at Falmer, like, shortly after.
Yeah.
And then
that's the only thing I can't
about.
remember.
Yeah.
Because he was actually kind of cool, right? Like, a good guy. Or,
yeah.
He had, good intention.
Yeah, he gave Perrin the rock to let them go free. Because they were kind of like, a drain on our resources. We're moving slowly to Falmer, like, we need to get rid of you. Or, I guess that's book 1. He's like...
Yeah. That was book 1.
Okay, so they're going to Camlin, I guess. And they just kind of say, like, get out of here, and then that's when they escape, I believe.
That was when Nynaeve and Lan rescue them. And they rescue Bella, of course.
The most important character.
Of course. But do you remember if the children that was being super rough and kicking Perrin all the time, was it the Bornhald's son, Dane Bornhald? Or was it someone else? Because there was like this guy who kept being like super mean to Erwin and Perrin. And there was the other cooler guy. So cooler guy was Bornhald's father. But the mean one, the aggressive, violent one, but also like cold one. Describe it as if he didn't have any feelings. He only had like hatred for Perrin. Was it the son?
That's the son, definitely. And it will come back. I'll leave you on that.
Okay, so now that we have that straight, first of all, shoot, we have Padan Fain in there. What the heck is he doing in that place? Why are they trusting him? And
he's not going by his name. That's a creepy part.
He definitely casted a charming spell on this Pedro Nial. That's why he's so friendly towards him. Another D&D parallel. and he is in disguise. So I'm very curious about what are the extent of this character's powers. You know, what are those?
It's very sus.
Very suspicious. Mm-hmm.
But the next part of the prologue is a Carradine POV because Padden Fane and Padronile kind of dismiss him because he is lower, even though he is like the leader of a certain branch of the White Cloaks. And he's in his room, and a Meadral shows up and is like, "Kill Rand," and we're like, "What?"
Oh, I had forgotten about this part. I only remember the Pedrignal and Padam Fane thing.
This is
Oh,
a
that's
thing
right.
everybody forgets, like after reading the prologue. So it's really interesting
he's a
having
dark
two
friend.
different orders to keep Rand alive because mayhem, and then kill Rand because he is mayhem. So he has this internal struggle.
So is this guy the name who called himself Boris? Is that what it means?
Do you think he is?
I think he probably is. I mean, he could be. He qualifies. He's a dark friend and he is a children of light. That's what I remember of the man who called himself Boris. But I could be remembering wrong. I don't know.
I'm going back and forth here whether to confirm or not.
Yeah. It will be confirmed later, probably.
He's definitely a candidate.
Mm-hmm.
You'll meet a lot of different children of the light who are very sus.
That are dark friend?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's not a good thing. I mean, I want to know if I will get like more explanations regarding the mechanics of how this Dark Lord works. How does he like tempt people? How is he influencing the pattern or real world? I mean, is he? I just don't know if this big enemy we have here is a thing with a conscious, is a thing with just like, is it just power? Is it sentient? Is it working actually to recruit all of these people, or is he just sending pawns like the Forsaken, or what?
You will have an answer. I'll say that. I can't confirm anything, but you will get something.
That's what I wanted to hear, because I didn't want no answer such as, oh, it's like not never explained, such as the Wheel of Time, what it was, or that. That's not pleasant. I mean, I don't want to answer to what he is. I just want to know that I will know what he or she or them are. This Dark Lord. Because it keeps being mentioned that, well, it is regarded as a he, so I'll call him a him. It is said a lot of time that he is bound in Shire Gould, but at the same time, the Aes Sedai are worried that he may be able to touch the pattern. So that's the only two things I know so far. And I don't know how is it that Trollocs are created, Mirdrals are created. How is it that Forsaken are working? I don't know. I'm curious. There's a lot. And that's why I get annoyed at the Children of Light chapters, because, I mean, having this enormous figure of darkness and ruthlessness and evilness, I know, the Children of Light feel like small things that are not important, are just being used by this entity, but are not actually even being successful. So why should I care? That's what I feel.
There are answers. There's one I really want to say right now that you kind of asked about, which I don't think is a spoiler myself. This is very much like a, do we say the word Adonalsium outside of spoiler tags situation?
Oh, right.
Um, I'm gonna have to wait, honestly, because I don't know.
Okay.
It's something that kind of clicked for me after I read the whole series, because I watched a whole metaphysics episode about what the pattern and the wheel and the dark one and all that is. So that kind of went into that. So.
Yeah, I'm not very good at figuring out those stuff without going into wikis or podcast or stuff. Not with the Cosmere, not with any anime I have ever watched that was like complex. I always have to go and look for these more implicit stuff that are there, or reread, which I will definitely do. So yeah, that was pretty much the prologue. And the thing with the children, we have like this one in a tight situation, like he has to kill, but he has to not kill Rand. So we don't see anything at all about him in the rest of the book.
That's why it's really like easy to forget. I forgot
yeah, that's
too,
definitely a ticking bomb. That's a bomb that I feel is going to explain probably in the Shadow Rising. But that's topic for another day. So
real quick, I want a prediction on if the children will go and find Perrin at the Two Rivers. Will that ever be a thing? Will they go do something else?
I think they would probably go to the Two Rivers and look for him and find that he is gone. And be angry and be violent and aggressive to the people, which is going to be horrible. That's what I think. Yeah, definitely this Pornhub son guy, he's going to be chasing poor Perrin. That resentful MF.
When do you think this will happen? What book?
I think that book 4 is a good moment for that to happen, because as I was trying to think what is going to happen with Perrin after book 3, I was like, I don't know. After I finished book 2, I thought that Perrin was going to go with Matt, to be with him, hold his hand, be his friend while he was getting healed because of the dagger. And he wasn't, so I was surprised. And now I don't even have an idea to what is going to happen with Perrin. So book 4 is a good candidate as any book. I don't know. Question mark in my head when I think about Perrin.
I will say this is everybody, because book 1 is definitely Rand. Book 2 is like Egwene, Nynaeve. Book 3, this book, is Matt. He's when everybody loves him. And this book, this is when everybody loves Perrin. So this is kind of his book. So I'm excited.
Very nice.
To see if
I already love him.
Out. He's great.
I mean, I already love him ever since the beginning of the saga. He's not my favorite Tavern, but I still love him. And I mean, Randy is definitely the worst Tavern.
Really?
Yeah. He's a silly teeth, the poor guy. Wool-headed silly teeth. He doesn't have any spice on him, but I see that he is growing a spine in book 3 because of all this stress that is crushing him. So I expect him to get better. But at the beginning, definitely Matt and Perrin are much more interesting and way cooler than him.
Yeah, I think at that perspective, yeah, I can agree. Because he is kind of whiny and just butting heads with everybody. I mean, like, I'm not the Dragon Reborn. So I think this is why I love the ending so much. When he's like, I'm the Dragon Reborn. It's like, yes, now we can move on to, like, awesome Perrin. Or, Rand.
Yeah.
So.
The first step is acceptance.
Yep. All right.
Okay, so
Perrin,
we start with Perrin, actually. Yeah. I don't think we have had many Perrin point of view. We have had some in book 1 and 2, but not many. And we have a lot of them now. And they have, don't you feel like when I read a parent chapter, I got like this serenity vibe from the chapter. Like, I am at peace because this guy, he is so calm, and he's thinking stuff through. That's like his main attribute. He even recognized this as a thing that he does. But even when you can see that he is worried or stressed about something, he's not stressed in the same way as Rand, who is like freaking out. He's like, ah! I can imagine Rand running around screaming, inside of his head, and Perrin at the same time, when he is stressed, he would sit down with a fist in his
Chin.
in his chin, yeah, thank you. And he would be like, what can I do? Let's evaluate this. And yeah, I really love that calmness that we get from his chapters.
Yeah, that's his
because he's definitely
character.
worried here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because that's the thing that they say in like the first chapter of like book 1. That's not, Dragon Mount or the prologue. Is that he's the guy who's really big, he's really strong, so he moves slowly, he doesn't want to hurt anyone, he doesn't want to be hasty, he's kind of like Loyal in that regard. He doesn't, Loyal's hasty, but that's from a Ogier perspective, is that he's hasty. But he's just like all the others. And Perrin very much thinks about it. So I was about to say something about a later book, but I can't say it, so.
I mean, all I could like add to what I said is that I kept reading that he thinks that some people would label him as slow-witted because of this habit that he has of thinking stuff through, and I would punch anyone who would call him slow-witted or stupid or any insult because of this, because that's a wonderful trait to have, what he has. He's amazing.
Yep.
But
I can't say more.
So yeah, we see at the beginning of the book, we see that he's having like, we see a bit of the relationship he has with Min, which is adorable. They have a nice friendship going on, because it's not a friendship built on spending years together as a contrast with Rand and Matt. It's not a friendship built upon spending 24 hours a day speaking and chatting about everything. It's more like an understanding of each other friendship that they have, and I really like that. And they trust each other. I was really happy to see that he had found someone he could trust other than stupid Moraine and Lan. And I say it with love, stupid Moraine, because I like her, but she's just annoying me. Especially at the beginning. Now that I'm remembering these chapters, she was annoying.
She keeps her cards to her chest, which is really annoying in the beginning. Because we're very much
she keeps
like...
a what?
The cards to her chest. Like she won't show her hand at all. And so, I will say it gets better. She does get a little more trusting and kind of shares plans later, which is nice. So, I think that's where I speak from when I say I love her. So, but I didn't love her in these beginning books.
Yeah, I mean, I don't distrust her as I did at the beginning of the saga. I know that she is good. If you would tell me, make a prediction about who Aes Sedai is a Black Aja, I would never say that she is a Black Aja. I would be like, anyone could be a Black Aja, but I would put my signature that she is not. And if she is, I will be like, I don't know, very disappointed and confused. But even if I trust her that way to be a good guy, Mamma mia. Girl, she is annoying. I don't like her. I don't appreciate this attitude that she's having. And well, something actually about this beginning of the book that I am really liking is that we see that Perrin and Rand are starting to stand up to her and say, hey, no. Hey, say something. we're not going to just obey. I mean, they end up just obeying, and she ends up not saying much, but at least they are like speaking against that thing that she's doing. So yeah, I appreciate that.
They're definitely maturing, which is nice.
So we see. Oh, we also learn like the general distribution of the characters in the beginning of this book, and I was, as I said, surprised that Perrin stood there with Rand instead of going with Matt. I mean, yeah, Rand is kind of, he's not ill, but he's in a bad shape. But Matt's life is in danger. He could die. So yeah, Perrin didn't go with him to Tarvalon. Instead, Nynaeve, Gwyn, and Elaine went back to Tarvalon with Hurin and Matt, and they, Perrin, Min, Lan, Moraine, Loyal, Rand, and the Shiener soldiers, they're camping in the middle of the mountains after the battle, and they are like waiting, trying to think, planning, scheming. And yeah, we're not seeing much of Rand. We only know that he is very upset and very argumentative with Moraine.
He's very, just in general, he's very distant and gone during this book. And it really helps us to kind of fall in love with these other characters, because we know who he is at this point. Not just that he's the Dragon Reborn, but we know, you know, his abilities, his characteristics, who he is, you know, all this stuff. So, like, I'm happy that he's pretty much gone throughout this book. I mean, we hear about him, but we get one POV from him, and that's at the end.
Yeah, I think we get like one in the middle, like in between. It was a Matt or an Erwin chapter, and we get like a little paragraph or a little piece of a point of view. But that definitely was a good decision. That was a very good decision to make.
Yeah, and this beginning just really, it's so unforgettable for me. I always remember like what this not prologue, but the first few batch of chapters are, because I just have this great image of them in snow, you know, in the mountains, you know, and of the Tinker woman, Leia, coming up, and, you know, you slowly get these details like they've been here for months now. They're just trying to figure out what to do, and they don't know what to do next. And Moraine's not telling anyone, which we've discussed. And Rand is just not having a good time. He's just, like, upset all the time. He can't even control his channeling, which, like, is really bad. I mean, he causes an earthquake at one point, like, during like, the first chapter in this section. So.
Yeah, he is in a terrible shape. He's not doing well. I love how every book, because I feel like all of these books have a format to them, like a structure, and we get like a beginning. We have had a prologue in which we see a point of view which is alien to the characters that we follow during the saga. So we have a prologue, then we have a presentation of the state of the art, let's say, the state of events. We know where each character are, and they are like chilling, and then suddenly something happens. Prologue attack, boom, invasion, something happens, and then the book starts. So this was like the nice come before the storm chapters that we have at the beginning of each of these books.
It reminds me of D&D a lot, because people always say if you're having an issue where people are just talking, just throw some monsters at the characters. And this is a very like great moment of that, where it's like, oh, Trollocs are here, and it's like, okay, let's get a story going. And like RJ definitely uses that, like, not trope, maybe it is a trope of like, oh, this calm, oh, danger.
It's a nice narrative resource, definitely, and one we DMs use a lot. I also appreciate so much the use of the tavern, because they will not go to a tavern and stay there and just sleep and have some meal. I mean, sometimes they do, but let's say 80% of the time they won't. They would go into an inn and something good happen. I love that. I love that so much. But yeah, we don't get an inn until further in this book. So right now, at the beginning, all we see is that, and then after the invasion, a lot of casualties, a lot of people being harmed. But the worst part is that Rand lives, and he has been having some dreams. He has been thinking a lot about some prophecies, and he decides to escape that camp and go and see if his destiny is truly what everyone is saying. If he truly is the Dragon Reborn. He wants to go find the magic sword that is not actually a sword, and check, like, to be sure. And so the adventure begins, following Rand. I want to know why is it that you add the thing about the Tinker Woman? Because I thought that was sad, but definitely not so important. So,
Well,
why did you add that to our notes?
Yeah, I added her because it's a good example of people trying to change the pattern. Because men sees these viewings, like Leia's gonna die. Like with, I think said like blood was dripping on her head. I didn't look at the specific viewing.
But yeah, she saw her staring, like dead staring, and blood on her face, as if she had hit her head.
Okay, because Perrin hears that, because we have great dialogue between the two, and he just tries so hard to alter the pattern, and it's a good example of them trying to, subvert, I guess, destiny, or the pattern. Like, the pattern doesn't care how hard you try. And even if Perrin was Ta'veren, well, he is Ta'veren, but that didn't even change her, her end. So I thought it was just important as like a point.
Yeah, her fate of dying.
Yeah. If men has a viewing about something, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, I had understood that, but I hadn't thought about that, actually. I was like, yeah, you can't change the pattern, but now that we speak about it, I realize that this pattern, this destiny thing, is definitely like a character itself. Because it's moving the threads in a way that whatever is meant to happen is happening. And I mean, the characters are doing like so many stuff, and you wonder how are these stuff going to be interesting if they have like this destiny written to them. So it's like a push and pull thing between them and the pattern. Them trying to like take different paths, run away from the Aes Sedai in the case of Matt, run away from being the Dragon Reborn in the case of Rand, but they end up together at the ending of each book. They ended up in the same place, in the same city, in the same building, fighting against the Dark Friends. So this is a big thing that we have in this world, and a challenging resource to choose if you are a writer, don't you think?
Yeah.
He's like a DM railroading the characters. But at the same time, he keeps it interesting, because sometimes when you are railroad as a player in D&D, it's not very cool. It's like, am I playing, or am I just an NPC, another NPC? So definitely an interesting resource to make. They don't feel like NPCs. They feel like they are making their own decisions, but ending up together, no matter what.
Yeah, one thing I should note is that sometimes men's viewings can change. Sometimes you'll see an image for like, a while. Oh. Sometimes you'll just notice a different image.
But when she knows that something will happen, it's like she gets a viewing and a vibe. If the vibe is that something will happen, it will happen no matter what. That's what I got. But if she doesn't get that vibe, then it's subject to change. It could or could not happen. Did I get it right in that case?
Yes, some characters it does stay the same. Sometimes it changes. Like I think the Tavern boys, there are definitely interesting viewings that she sees throughout. So it's really hard to say without going into spoilers, but
Okay, understand. So yeah, that's like I would say that running away from that camp is like the closing of an arc, the beginning arc of the book.
he has agency.
And
he's not doing what people are telling him, which is so nice.
Yes. And there are some remarks that you made about this Massimo guy that everyone keeps telling me is important, and I keep not paying attention to him.
Yep.
So what about that?
So he's not terribly important right now, so it's fine if you don't pay attention to him. I'm just more kind of reminding you that he exists. So because they find him gone, and Massimo, he began as a god at Faldara when Rand was trying to leave, and we know all that. And he's at the flicker scene when they're having those repeated lifetimes of where they see each other in thousands upon thousands of like different futures. And so he's there, and then everyone finds that Rand is gone, and Perrin makes it a note that I think he says to men, I think Massimo is a little mad because they ask him, they're like, hey, what's Rand? And he's like, Perrin, you grew up with this guy. Why would the Lord Dragon abandon us? What sin did we commit? And Perrin is like, dude, chill the fuck out. He's like, what are you talking about? He did not abandon us. Like, he's just probably going to Tia, and that's when they start going that way. And as you said, the adventure begins. So it's a very weird interaction that I thought was very noteworthy.
Okay, so
later.
I smell foreshadow in there.
To what? What's your prediction about Massimo? Because I think you have enough info now.
If I were to make a prediction, my prediction would be that he helps the Children of Light to capture him because he feels betrayed by his decisions, by Rand's decisions. I think that he will probably begin as this faithful character, faithful in this Lord Dragon, follower of him till the grave, and then he will be disappointed again and again, and yeah, I think he will turn against our friends, our Tavern Panas. I'm probably wrong. I'm never good at predictions.
That's okay, because I love this. It's a very logical prediction.
Okay.
I love that. But moving on. I don't think I have much else that I added, like, significantly. Just a couple quotes here and there.
Something important about this beginning, and something that keeps being important throughout the rest of the book, is the relevance of dreams in this book.
Oh yeah, my favorite part.
Dreams. Because we have like one magic system, that is the magic system of channeling the one power, of taking something from the true source and using it in the world, in your life. And you have like different, as in D&D, you have like different schools of magic. So in here they are called talents, the things that in D&D would be schools of magics. And one of the talents that you can have is the dreaming talent. It's kind of like foretelling, divination. It's not foretelling, because foretelling is a different talent. But dreaming, which is a thing of the spirit, is somehow the ability to connect stuff, events, people that are in different places. The ability to connect all of those elements in a different plane. So it's kind of as if you were going to the astral plane, let's say in D&D, and seeing like the shadow of stuff, but all to mix together as the way that stuff are in dreams. So Rand has the ability, because of being the Dragon Reborn and being a tavern, he has the ability to influence the dreams of people around him. That's very interesting. He can enforce his own dreams into people. People can dream about what he's doing. So that's the first dreaming magic that we see in here, that the Shiener and soldiers, they are all having dreams connected to what's happening to Rand. That's just the beginning. Dreams keep getting more important. So, should we move on to like the chronological order of events, or should we move on to what happens with Perrin?
I think we should go character by character, because that's what we usually do on when I was doing first reading.
Okay, so that's perfect. Actually, talking about dreamings, dreaming is a talent of the channeling of the one power, but it's also something that Perrin can do, because he is it okay to call him a wolf brother? Is that the name for what he is?
Wolf brother, yes.
Like a lycanthrope? Lycanthropo. Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's a werewolf.
So he is a wolf. Yeah, no, not in the like traditional sense of the thing, but he's got this weird thing going on with wolves, and he's having dreams. We later find out that what he's doing is entering the Tel Aran Riod, or however you say that, sorry. He's entering this place, this world of dreams, let's call it the astral plane in Wheel of Time. And even if he's not a channeler, he can move in that place, and he can influence what's happening in that place, therefore influence what's happening in the real life. He's even interacting with a dead wolf, because every wolf exists, every wolf that has ever lived, that lives, and who will live, exists in this plane. That's a very beautiful like thing of this magic system. I love that. And I loved seeing, because I was like, when I was starting the saga, I was like, yeah, Perrin can like talk to wolf, he's kind of a druid, a weird one, I don't know. I wonder how is this going to become more interesting or more cool, because so far he can only like speak with wolf and have this mental connection to them. But now that he is able to enter that place and move around there, he could become much more powerful. And I am very curious to know more about this wolf brother thing, because it's not a thing of the one power, it's even older than that. That's what we have been told several times. Will there be more explanation about this, or is this another subject that is left for you to interpret in there?
I think you'll learn a lot more about this. I mean, I said last book, I was like, oh boy, this is the book where we're introduced to my favorite thing of the series, which is Tel'aran'rhiod. There are just so many really cool things about this, really cool plot lines that happen regarding Tel'aran'rhiod. And there is stuff that is interesting that you don't get answers for, but I think you'll be very happy, for the most part, that with explanations. I mean, I was so happy when Hopper came back this book. The wolf who wanted to fly, as he says, and he was known for his wolf name was Hopper because he would always hop because he wanted to fly, and he died. And I think his last thought that Perrin received before he got speared by the White Cloaks, which another reason we hate him, because don't you dare touch that puppy, is he has a thought before he's killed that he's flying or he's gonna fly. And we see, I think in this book, Hopper does that. He meets with Perrin and he's like, what are you doing here? You are a little pup. Don't be here. And he flies away, and Perrin was like, that was bizarre. So I was very happy when Hopper came back, because I like my dogs. I like every dog. They're all good boys and good girls. So
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even connected the fact that he was named Hopper with him flying now, and it's definitely very poetic and very nice. I love when writers do this kind of stuff. Sometimes I am able to catch them right as I read it on the first time, but this I hadn't catch, so thanks for telling me. It's definitely beautiful that he gave that to Hopper's character. And apparently he's staying. I mean, even if he died, we are going to keep having more interesting interactions between him and Perrin. He was also like one of the wolves who were like willing to let Perrin in. There were some against, but Hopper wasn't against. He was always friendly. So it's nice that Perrin has someone he can trust. And right at the beginning of the book, it's not very clear if he is like dreaming in the same way as we in real life think of dreaming, which is like, I don't know, imagining stuff. We don't know if he is imagining these interactions with Hopper or if they are real. And little by little, chapter by chapter, you realize that they are real, that he is there. So he has another friend that's always with him. Which is important because these characters, they are going through a lot and they are alone and they keep getting separated from each other. But actually, why do you think that Perrin was trying to shut the wolves out of his head all the time? As I was reading, I was like, boy, come on, let them in. They're cool. It's cool to have the wolves. Information, interactions. Why?
I think it's the case when Moraine, I think in book 2, shows him the guy who had the same Wolf Brother ability, talent, where he just was so far gone.
It's in this book, actually.
Oh, this book? Okay. So I think that's why he's...
It is in this book.
I don't know why before then that he was cutting it out. But it's probably just Two Rivers stubbornness. I mean, that's a whole thing that people constantly meme about, is that everyone from the Two Rivers is very stubborn. And some people even attribute huge triumphs, with Rand, because he's just stubborn. He won't do exactly what you tell him. He'll be like, no, no, no. And he go do whatever he wants. I mean, him running away is a good, example of that. And so I think him denying the Wolf Brother ability is just him being stubborn. He doesn't want to be, a hero or someone who is special. He just wants to live in the Two Rivers and, do all this and just live a normal life. He doesn't want to be caught up. He doesn't want to be Ta'veren. So that's what I think on that regard. It makes sense to me. So.
Okay, now I can definitely see that, but the fact that he wants to shut this up is weird for me, because what is more free than these wolves, The way that he describes the experience of, like, getting this full, let me think of the word, What is more free than a wolf? When Rand describes the experience of having this symbiosis with the wolves, he is free. He's running. He's smelling everything. He is following whatever he has inside. He's not catch by all of his thoughts and worries. He is free. He describes the experience as being free. So why is he so scared of that? I think it makes sense what you said about him being from the Two Rivers, because people in the Two Rivers would regard Aes Sedai, the Dragon Reborn, a Wolf Brother as mythical things, stuff that are like weird and magic, and they would be like, oh no, we don't want anything to do with that. They would be like, oh no. They would not be like cool with a Wolf Brother. But I want to see him exploring the acceptance of this thing that he can do, the thing that he is actually, because it definitely has helped him a lot, has kept him safe, has kept him accompanied by someone, and is making him feel free. So I want him to go into that path of the Wolf Brother.
Yeah, I'll say
well,
that
by the end of the book he ends up
same.
accepting it a little bit more.
Yeah, I had the exact same thing, because I wanted him to do that too, because I would totally be up for that. I want to talk to some wolves. That'd be awesome. I want to go to sleep and explore the world of dreams. I think that would be so awesome. And I've actually had lucid dreams since I started reading the series like a year ago, where I was in Tel'aran'rhiod, and I was able to affect my own dream doing that. And it's the most bizarre thing. Like, lucid dreaming on its own is really weird.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it's already weird just on that front. But
lucid
then,
dreaming as in realizing... Does it mean that you realize that you're dreaming when you say lucid dreaming?
Yeah, like you're walking around and you're making decisions and you're like doing this, doing that. And as you learn about Tel'aran'rhiod, I can explain more about what my dream is and the mechanics of that. So. Again, this is my favorite thing.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. It's amazing. Dreaming is super cool. I always have, I have through all my life always have very realistic dreams. I always remember them, and they are bizarre. They are fun. They are an interesting experience. It's crazy what the human mind hides, you know. So yeah, I'm also very curious and interested about this concept of Tel'aran'rhiod, and yeah, I can see myself dreaming with the stuff from the Wheel of Time in the future. I mean, I have dreamed. I have had dreams in which I went to Narnia, in which I fly in how do you say this? Escoba, the flying thing that you use in Harry Potter, the flying stick.
Oh, the broom?
To sweep.
Broom?
Yeah, I have dreamed that I was using one of those, a flying broom. I was in Narnia. I have dreamed about the Cosmere, so I'm excited to dream about the Wheel of Time stuff. Not the scary stuff, of course, but the nice.
Cat and Fane coming out.
The nice ones. No. I don't want no Myrddraal in my dreams. Yeah, so, well, going back to Perrin, pretty much his arc during this book is that he's having these dreams, he's exploring this stuff that he sees when he's asleep. He's not wanting to sleep because he's scared as fuck. I mean, I understand that. I would also be very scared if I was going through that. And he's basically following Rand after he left. He's following him with Lan Moiraine, Loyal, and yeah, himself. Because Min was sent back to Tar-Valon, and the Shienaran soldiers, they were like sent to Fodara. That's it. Yeah, I mean, we see him doing interesting stuff in there. We see him having this encounter with the Wolf Brother that left himself go and just stop being kind of a man, this guy. And we also see Perrin releasing an Aielman, releasing an Ironman who was in a cage, which is very interesting because this was something that Min foretold in one of her visions.
I was very happy that you connected that. I don't know if he like says that outright, but like I love spotting when men's feelings come true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
This
it's
is
very
definitely one of
cool.
them. And I want to make a note that we finally meet this IO man is probably one of my favorite IO people. His name is Gull, and I just love his intro just so much. Where he's let down, and a couple white cloaks come out, and they're like, "Hey, that savage is out of the cage, kill him." And he looks at Perrin, and he's like, he calmly lifts his veil, which is an IO culture. That means like I'm ready for action. You can only see my eyes when we fight you. So if you see us lifting our veil, get ready. And he looks to him and he says, "Do you like to dance, Perrin Ibara?" And he just smokes the white cloaks. And it's such an awesome scene. And that's when we also meet controversial character Zareen / Fael. I'm curious how you think of her.
Oh, quick note before that. Kaladin would make an excellent Iron Man because he's always around Kaladin from Stormlight Archives. This is spoiler free. He's all over the place making references of dancing with the wind, dancing with spear, doing his katas while he fights. So yeah, I could see him being a good Iron Man. Don't you think?
That is so awesome. I've never thought about that because I talked about how I thought Rock would be a really awesome. What did I say? Yeoman, I think I said. Is that he would be really good with his humor.
What?
Rock?
From Era 2? Mistborn Era 2?
No, Rock, the chef in Stormlight Archive. What's his Luminoi?
Rock
What's his name?
The Rock.
Yeah, he would make a great Yeoman.
Numuhu kumaki aquí a Lunamore. Yeah, he fits the physical description.
Yeah, and his humor is exactly the same way.
Oh, that would be amazing. Also, I don't get why people can't say that name. It's definitely not that hard after you try that like for 2 times.
Yeah, if I have it in front of me, I can say it, but I don't. It was just off the cuff.
Oh, I just remember. It. But yeah, Kaladin and Rock, they would definitely would be amazing. As Iron Man. Kaladin is not a ginger. He doesn't have the physical description like at all, and he doesn't have the humor. He doesn't have any humor at all. But yeah, Rock, that's amazing.
If we morphed the two characters, I think they'd be Gull.
I like them. I like the Aya people. They are cool. Yeah, if we make a chimera with alchemy of Rock and Kaladin. But we have seen very, very weird or strange culture if you compare them to whatever we have in real life. We have seen definitely strange stuff in the Wheel of Time. And stuff that are not reminiscent to me, that are not like a clear analogy to, I don't know, Asia, Africa, South America. I like that. I like that Robert Jordan has taken the job to create cultures that feel unique, that feel original, that don't feel like a copy or a joke about stuff from real life. And well, maybe people can find like connections between the Wheel of Time cultures and real life cultures. I'm not a specialist. I don't find those connections, and the Iron Man are one of my favorites so far. The Carian, the people from Carian, I mean, those are not my favorite. The Sonshan, I hate them. The Aes Sedai ladies. Oh, I have heard people comparing them to the Masons in real life, Masons. But they are also not my favorites. And the Iron Man, yeah. Aya people. The people of the dragon. We could say by now. Yeah, I like them. They are cool.
I'll get you a list of all the
Um,
references to real world cultures for the IEL because it's really interesting. But that's for the next episode because I want you to read book 4 first. I can't say much
okay.
else. So.
Okay. So going back to Perrin, he meets a Serene or File. In my Spanish head, File. Fail. Yeah, I mean, as I told you a few days ago, as I read about her, I was like, what is she doing there? She feels like out of place. Um, how is it that Moiraine allows a stranger to just say, hey, I'm traveling with you now. Hope you don't have a problem with that. And Moiraine is like, yeah, I have a problem with that, but I'm not going to do anything. What the hell? I mean, why? What is she doing there? And then we see that she's got like this symbology stuff um with the falcon, and then you understand that she's probably important in the pattern because Min foretold Perrin being with the falcon and the hawk, I think. Was it a hawk?
Yep.
Oh, I think I saw a hawk. I don't know if it is the hawk that Min saw around Perrin in her vision, but there is someone connected with a hawk in this book. In the very last chapter, I mean in the epilogue, a lady. Yeah, I won't remember the name of the lady, but there's like a scene at the end of the book in which we have Moiraine, Wynne, Nynaeve, and Matt talking in the stone, and a lady appears, a noble lady, with this regal bearing around her. And she gives them a note from Lanfair, and then she goes away. And then she says, I want to have dinner with the Dragon Reborn. Tell him that he has to see me tonight at my, I don't know, somewhere. And she's wearing a crown with a hawk in there. And I saw that and I was like, is this means hawk for Perrin? Or is it just a coincidence? I guess it's a raffle. I don't know. But definitely the falcon that means so is this Serene lady. I want to know, when did you start hating her?
The next book. Because I was very, like, suspicious of her, like you are. Like, what was she doing here? But it was the next book that I hated her. And I know you're going to know the moment when I start hating her. So.
Do you think I will hate her too?
Yes.
Very and the fandom in general. Okay. She's generally not liked. Okay. I don't know. She was like the what the fuck character for now. And it was very weird that after the whole avalanche in the tier and the whole, because she's basically around up until she gets trapped into around Riot at the end of the book, and Perrin goes to rescue her. And when he rescues her, they have like this moment, this romantic moment, and I was like, when did that happen? When did the romance happen? I mean, so during the book, we see that she's following Perrin, and Perrin is awkward around her, but he's not particularly like interested in her or in love. I mean, Rand thinks in a more romantic way about Egwene than Perrin does about this girl in the whole book up until the end. So I'm wondering if this is a thing of the pattern again, of this destiny thing going on, that since Min saw Perrin with the falcon, he will not be able to escape that he is connected or linked to her somehow. But yeah, she is around. She is sticking her noses into everyone's business.
Yeah, on the point of why is Moiraine letting her go along, she tries to get rid of her, and it's kind of like constantly asking, like, are you sure you want to come with us? Are you sure you want to come with us? And then Perrin, at one point, like, while Fael is around, is like, I'm not the dang Dragon Reborn. And Moraine's like, okay, we can't let her go. Like, We don't.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, we
that
can't
that is
trust
very
her.
true. But
So
Moiraine is not making her go. If Moiraine wants her to go, she will make her go away. There will be no question of, hey, do you want to please go away because we are kind of uncomfortable having you around? No, she will be like, go away, and just kick her out of the place with a thunder or a lightning or fire or something. And she's not doing that. I get it. Ever since she heard Perrin speaking about the Dragon Reborn and Rand and all of that, yeah, she has to stay because otherwise they have to kill her because she simply knows too much. But before, why was Moiraine allowing her to stay before?
I just
I don't know.
remembered because in book 1, so this is probably not something we think about because it's a very small moment when we first meet men, because that's the Moraine knows of men already before they go there, and she asks men, I believe, like, what do you see of the 3 boys? And I think that's when men sees the Falcon and the Hawk fighting over each other, or fighting over Perrin.
Oh.
I think she knows of that, and it's kind of like, oh no, like, because she knew that Zareen, the name, like that word, meant Falcon. So in my head, I think she just knew and was like, oh no, like, I can't just let her leave because the pattern's gonna bring her back. I mean, so once Perrin lets that out, she's like, okay, like, this is our confirmation that she's with us now. So
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to accept that. And whatever she does, this Serene girl that everyone hates her for, I'm going to blame it on Moiraine because I'm angry at Moiraine now.
so
Even
think,
if it doesn't make any sense.
yeah. So you think that the whatever event that I start hating her is going to be Moraine related, perhaps?
No, I'm just blaming Moraine as a silly thing to do because I'm angry.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm being childish.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I have no idea what is it that she could do. Yeah, have no idea.
Definitely a Rafa, I guess.
A very big one. So, yeah, I mean, Perrin is awesome throughout this whole book. My favorite Perrin scene is when, after all the trip and the traveling, they arrive at Tyr and they stay at an inn. And very close to the inn, there's a smithery. Is that the word? Did I say it right?
Yeah.
The place in which a blacksmith works?
Smithy.
Smithy. Okay.
Yeah.
Smithy.
I think Smithy works.
There's a smithy around that inn in which they are staying, and we have a scene in which we see Perrin working as a blacksmith. That was beautiful. That was my favorite Perrin moment in the whole saga so far. I guess we will have better moments with Perrin in the following books, but so far that was just so beautiful. The way he was connecting with the job, with the work that he was doing, with the art, because it is a thing that requires some delicacy, some knowledge, but some art as well to create an object. Even if the object you are creating it with metal, which are very like hard materials, difficult to manipulate, to cast, dangerous to work with because you have to have them at extremely high temperatures. The way he does it is so poetic, so beautiful. I just love that scene.
I think it points really well to his character too, because blacksmithing is really hard, and you have to take your time. You have to think about each stroke of the hammer to make sure that it comes out how you want it. And just the writing of that scene is really amazing too. But I like the whole thing with how it's just a perfect character. Like, if I was to introduce someone to Perrin, like using like a chapter or like a paragraph, I would show them this. This is Perrin. He takes his time. He thinks about every action that he does. He does not rush into things. He's very strong. I mean, in the picture of the cast members, Perrin is freaking huge in that picture. Like, he's towering over everyone else. And
he's even bigger than Rand in the cast. I think that's not technically correct in the books, but I can take that. I accept that. I love that. That he's taller than Rand.
I think Yosha, who plays Rand, is gonna nail it. I mean...
Yeah, me too.
Every behind the scenes, not even on set, every, like, post he posts where he's, like, walking around, or someone takes a picture of him, it just exudes Rand. Like, I see Rand now. That's the only way I can think of him when I read the books now, is him. And we haven't even had a scene yet. We haven't had the land teaser. We didn't have Moraine teaser, you know. Like, we've had all that, so it's really easy now to see Lan as, you know, Daniel Henney or, you know, Rosamund Pike. We've had nothing of Rand until that picture of him walking with the rest of the characters. Except for leaks, but I don't look at those. So.
Yeah, I mean, definitely we will, whenever we record a reaction episode to the TV show, we will get deep down into this, but even if there are some slight differences between the book description and the actual looks of the actors, I definitely accept them and let them go, because, I mean, even if Moiraine is too tall for being a Moiraine, this actress, she is perfect. This Rand, he is the living image of whatever I was imagining as Rand. This Perrin, he is so perfect to be Perrin. And so on for every one of them. I can't wait to see them perform, actually. But yeah, we clearly are very excited about the TV show. But going back to this scene of Perrin, definitely is a perfect introduction for him, because the blacksmith work is something very frequently regarded as rough work. A job for a tough guy, a strong guy, maybe even like I don't know if brute is the right word in English, so I'm just going to stick with tough guy and a rough job. But I love that it fits so perfectly with Perrin, because everyone forgets about the delicate touch you have to maintain during the work, the concentration, the thinking through, the being careful. Because as Perrin thinks himself dangerous to other people because he's so big and strong, so is the elements you need to work when you are a blacksmith. They are dangerous stuff. Metals, fires, high temperatures. So yeah, definitely one of my favorite chapters. I was dumbfounded when I read that. I was just amazed. I love that.
It's amazing.
And that's pretty much all I wanted to say about him.
I want to
that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I want to mention that when they go to, I guess, Alien, where Samael, Moraine discovers that he's like in charge of, because this is a big thing, is that one of the Forsaken is in charge of an entire city. He just shows up out of nowhere, is in charge. And Darkhounds. It's our first introduction to Darkhounds, a new shadow spawn, really scary. I imagine it like basically the D&D ones, where they exude like shadows from the skin when they're in the night, and it's like a cloud of shadows around them. But she uses a thing called Balefire, which we've heard a few times throughout the series. But this is our first like specific Moraine looking at the camera and saying, "This is Balefire. I should not know how to use this. This is highly illegal to know. As an Aes Sedai, I can be stilled for using this, so don't tell anybody."
Yeah, makes you wonder where. Yeah, when did she learn to use that, and where?
I honestly don't know.
Those are important questions. Important rafos, I think. I hope I get an answer to those. Oh, so there is no answer to how is it that she learned that?
I would have to look it up, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, Bellfire. Dangerous. Apparently. The thing is, Bellfire is first introduced in an Egwene chapter, but I immediately recognized that as Bellfire as I read this.
Yeah, because I'm trying. I don't want to say too much, but do you know why it is dangerous for people to know, like what Bellfire does?
It apparently it kind of obliterates you. So I assume it's because of that.
I'll wait till the end of book 4 when we get. I think there's an explanation in that book of what happens. So I'm gonna wait, see if you spelt that. If not, I'll tell you next episode.
Okay. Cliffhanger in here.
I just wanted you to know that she did that. And it's really illegal.
Damn, I want to speak about some of the Egwene. Okay. Yeah, I this definitely makes me want to speak about one of the Egwene chapters because the first time that we see Balefire is when Egwene is going through the test to become an accepted, to be raised to the accepted. And she has to go through this terangrial. She has to face like 3 tests, one for the things she made or she was put against. One for the sin. I mean, basically one for the present, one for the past, and one for the future. And when she's going through the test regarding the future, she sees herself as the Amerlin seat, and she goes through a lot of different horrible situations, and she considers using Bellfire. And then she's like, why do I know what Bellfire is? What is it? I don't know, but I know what it is, and I know how to use it. And Egwene dreams, we have learned in this book that Egwene dreams, they are not normal dreams. And even if this was not a dream, everything that she has like from her head, I would take it as heavy foreshadow of something that definitely could be true. So, she being the Amerlin seat in that vision or whatever that was that she saw somehow meant that she could use Bellfire. And we also see Nynaeve using Bellfire without realizing. Was it the Sunshine that used this at some point? I don't remember if we see Sunshine Damanes using Bellfire in the Great Hunt. Do they?
I don't remember Ascension using Bellfire, but I do recall multiple uses in this book. I think by Nynaeve and Moraine. And someone else who I don't know if you noticed.
Yeah, Moiraine to fight the Darkhounds and Rand.
Yes, okay.
Right? Yeah, he definitely uses that, and I would say that the Sunshine Damanes, they definitely know how to use Bellfire. That's not a hidden or a forbidden thing for them. I would say they are willing to use it if they have to as a weapon. But if they don't know how to use it because they don't know that exists, then better for humankind in the Wheel of Time world, because that would be hella dangerous. The Sunshine using Bellfire. But I think they probably know. They probably can dominate it, sadly. And yeah, I mean, apparently it can obliterate dark friends. They just kind of obliterate pretty much everything it touches. It is a things would be like disintegrated whenever they are touched by this substance, light, wave of radiation. I don't know if I should think about the fire as something so similar to science stuff that we know from the real world, because even if the Wheel of Time world is our world, but in the future the magic system is not so hard. So maybe I am going in the wrong way, thinking about antimatter, highly energized radiation, electromagnetic radiation, disintegration. I don't know.
Yeah,
indeed.
I don't really know what to say. I mean, there's just so much with Bellfire. I think what you're thinking is good right now. That, it is something else. And that's not, it's something really dangerous. And it does disintegrate, but it does something else that I can't tell you yet. And you could probably predict if you want.
Maybe what it does is that it eliminates something from the pattern. Something existing from the pattern. That would be a dangerous thing. If you told me, think of something dangerous to a thing to do. What is a dangerous effect that a magic thing could do? Okay, eliminate something from the whole pattern, because we know that the pattern includes different worlds, different places that you can reach through the portal stones. If I were to think of something very dangerous, it would be a substance or material that can take you out of the equation for good. But again, I'm probably wrong. I'm not good at predictions.
Yeah, that's a waffle. So, I'll be interested to see if this is something true. So,
we will see about that. So, well, now that we have been speaking about this, we could probably move on to the Erwin Arc. I think the Erwin Arc is mostly Erwin point of view, but it's actually a Nynaeve Erwin. Nynaeve / Erwin arc. Because it involves them too. Sorry, it involves them both. And Elaine is like there because they are panas. But I don't think that she's so important in the pattern because of her own. Maybe she is, but I don't think so far. Oh, and I had like a silly moment as I was reading this book in which I said, hey, Elaine, Elenia, Eilenia, those two names sound similar. What if Elaine is like a reincarnation of Elenia or something like that? And then I was like, that's stupid.
I personally love it.
But I was trying to think of a reason for Elaine to be so important. You love that theory. I don't know. I mean, why is the pattern allowing her to stick around? I don't know. And so far I keep liking Elaine. I still think that she is spicy and cool and amazing. And there is one scene in this book in which Elaine slaps Erwin for disrespecting our High Lady Nynaeve, and it was so satisfying. I mean, I keep hearing people speaking crap about Elaine, saying that she is not good, that she makes poor decisions, that she is very hated among the fandom. I love her since the first book. I have read book 1, 2, and 3. I'm still full on board with her. And that bitch slap that she gave Erwin, that was totally deserved. Accurate. As a future queen should do. So, amazing. Oh, I mean, this is probably inconsequential to the discussion, but our friend Tommy, who is actually Argentinian as well, is reading the book, and he had such hilarious reactions to this scene of Elaine slapping Moraine, and I couldn't explain them because those reactions were in Spanish, and they were in slang Spanish, so there's no way to translate them, or at least I don't have a way to translate them and really transmit the intensity of those reactions, but it was amazing. Yeah, I got the same excitement. This point was being as Egwene and Nynaeve and Elaine were reaching the tier, Egwene was being a little shitty to them. She was stressed out, but everyone is stressed out. That's no excuse in this saga. But she was not being amazing. Anyway, before reaching the tier, important stuff that happened to Egwene, Nynaeve, and Elaine is that they are sent to follow the Black Aha that had attacked Soma Aes Sedai in Tar Valon, that had killed Soma Aes Sedai, and that had stolen 13, I don't know if it was 13, but they had stolen an amount of terangrials, and those were all terangrials related to the dreaming talent. So yeah, definitely dreaming is the main use of the true source that we work around in this book. A very interesting one. And we also see Egwene receiving a terangrial from Beren. A very important one, I dare say. So, I want to hear you describe this terangrial.
Yeah, that's the terangrial that allows a channeler to enter Tel'aran'rhiod by just going to sleep, as long as it touches the skin. So.
Mm-hmm. It also allowed, that's what Beren told Egwene that the terangrial does. But what Egwene could do was channel inside of Tel'aran'rhiod when she was wearing the ring, which is extremely powerful. It is as if the DM gave Egwene this very powerful item that the DM looked up especially for her, because sometimes the DM would give you, like, if you are a fighter, they would give you a sword, or if you are like a range fighter, he would give you a bow. But sometimes the DM would give you an item that is perfectly fitting for your characters and your abilities. And I think that is what Robert Jordan did here to Egwene, because this ring was perfect for her. Yeah, it is basically what allowed her to find the Black Ahas.
Yeah, this is definitely a moment of, DM Robert Jordan giving the perfect item, because it is very important for her, and will be very important for her. I mean, it's not like, I'm trying to think of like a, Lord of the Rings an analogy.
I was about to bring up, because we all, readers of both Wheel of Time and Tolkien, will connect this ring that she is wearing, that she is using, with the One Ring, the ring to rule them all, because she keeps wanting to wear it all the time. She keeps wanting to touch it all the time, to feel it on her skin, and that was so reminiscent of My Precious. She was also reluctant to share it with the others, and they were like, yeah, share it with us, we can try to wear it and try to see what we dream when we are wearing it. And she's like, mine. Don't touch it.
I also want to, it's really cool because the One Ring, when you put it on, it sends you to like a shadow dream type world, and I wonder if that was like on purpose. I'm sure it was, but that was a connection I just made when you said that, because I've never thought of it as the One Ring until just now. So this is awesome.
Could be a tribute. This could be a tribute to that. And also D&D references. rings in D&D, I don't know about you guys out there, but at least in my campaigns, rings are such versatile items, such interesting items. You can make a ring for anything. I mean, you need like a tailored ability for your playing characters to have, and you are the DM, you give them a ring. That's it. If you don't want to give them a weapon, because with a weapon they will be like, hey, it has to make some extra damage and blah, blah. No, you just give them a ring. You can put charges to it, you can like nerf it, or you can buff it if you need. It can be enhanced, it can be stolen. So yeah, rings are amazing in fantasy in general, also in D&D. And I love the detail of this ring. Also, very important that Beren gave it to them, don't you think? That was very nice of her.
Yeah. And we'll talk about this more with Matt, but Beren has made some really good choices here when it comes to helping our main characters.
So yeah, the three girls pretty much. I mean, some important stuff are introduced in the Erwin Arc. The Grey Men. The first introduction of a Grey Man is at Tarvalon when Egwene and Nynaeve are speaking after that the Amerlin told them, you have to hunt the Black Aha. Good luck. Figure out how you do it. They are speaking and suddenly an arrow almost splits Egwene's skull in two halves. And the girls figure out a way to catch the shooter of this arrow, and when they find them, it was like a weird... It was... I imagine it just as a lifeless from Warbreaker. Kind of a zombie, let's say. Or yeah. a puppet of a person.
That's how I would say.
And when they found this thing, it was already dead. Mm-hmm. So they are introduced in there. So what I want to remark is that we see that there are foes walking and sleeping in Tarvalon under the same roof as these Aes Sedai are living. And Tarvalon is not Tarvalon, sorry, the White Tower. The White Tower is becoming a dangerous place to be day by day. And some stuff that I have read in The Shadow Rising make me feel that even more. And I want to know who put that Grey Man in there. We have this horrible paranoid feel from Egwene and Nynaeve in these chapters because they don't know who to trust. Anyone could be a Black Aha because 13 Black Ahas left the White Tower and the girls have to hunt them. But there could be more still in there. There's someone sending a Grey Man to kill them. And, well, it is raised that the number 13 is very important, especially when it's like about dark friends, because as Egwene was going through the third test of her acceptance ritual, she sees in these visions that you need 13 Aes Sedai to steal a man, and you need 13 Myrdrals and 13 Black Ahas to turn an unwilling Aes Sedai subject into the dark side. So we get some important information drops from these chapters. And we also see Lanfear walking the White Tower. So yeah, very worrisome.
So I want to get a prediction here. Who do you think sent the Grey Man?
The Grey Man event made me suspect Sheriam, the mistress of the novices, because she found the girls as they were examining the carcass of the Grey Man, and Nynaeve remarks that Sheriam didn't ask who put a knife in his chest, because when they found the gray man had had been stabbed by someone. So I am worried. I am distrusting Sheriam now. I'm pretty much distrusting everyone, even the Amerlin seat. I don't know if the Amerlin seat is good. The only asset I would assume that is not possibly a dark friend is Moiraine.
But
yeah, I mean, who put it there? Who put the gray man there? I don't know. I don't know what it takes to make one or to command one gray man to do something, but I would connect it with Lanfear walking around there, because every time that we have seen a gray man, it's been in a place in which we know a Forsaken is around. We saw gray men trying to attack Perrin in Ilian, and it was just before the Dark Hound, so we know that the High Lord of Ilian is Samael. Was it? I don't know, but like the president or the king of Ilian is a dark friend. A Forsaken, actually. And there are grey men there. Lanfear is in the White Tower, and there are grey men there. And some grey men follow Matt in Tarvalon. But yeah, pretty much anyone channeling could be responsible of grey men, in my opinion. I don't know. I would say for the prediction, Lanfear or a Black Aja. Like Sheriam, probably.
You think Sheriam is Black Aja?
I don't want to answer because I have read a little bit of The Shadow Rising and I have thoughts. But by the time I was only reading the Dragon Reborn and I was finished, I would have said, I don't know, every Aes Sedai could be a dark friend. Any of them. So yeah, she could be. I hope she's not.
Nice. Well.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and make a prediction. Okay. The Amerlin seat is not a Black Aja, but the keeper, she is named Lian. Is it Lian?
Liana?
Well, yeah. I think she could be a Black Aja. Yeah, I will not be surprised if she is.
Well, that's a good old Raffo. So.
Yeah, I mean, Sheriam and Lian, the ones I am suspecting of being Black Ajas, they have important roles in the White Tower, let's say, hierarchy. One of them is the Mistress of Novices, and the other one is like the right hand of the Amerlin seat. And we have one point of view chapter from the Amerlin seat in The Great Hunt, and one little point of view of her in the Dragon Reborn. And the lady, I mean, she probably is not a dark friend either, but I don't know. I will not make predictions around her being a dark friend, but she certainly is in a position, in a complicated position in which she doesn't know who to trust. She could not know who to trust because she's surrounded by dark friends, or because she is covering a secret herself. I hope she's not. I hope she's good, because otherwise, damn, problems. But Sheriam and Lian seem to be around her all the time. Seem to be, especially Lian, of course, they seem to be involved in the decisions that the White Tower makes, and they could be like ruling this Black Aja group with enough knowledge to keep them hidden from the good guys, let's say, like Moiraine, like whoever is not in the dark side. So they have enough power to cover if they are, and they are close enough to know. They're close enough to the leader of this faction to know about whatever is happening in the world. And besides, when we have the Moiraine point of view in The Great Hunt, The Amerlin seat sends Liane out of the room, and she guards the room so that not even Liane can hear what Moiraine and Amerlin seat are speaking. That is obviously because they are speaking about Rand being the Dragon Reborn. They have this hypothesis and they don't share it with anyone. That's the reason why they guard, but I mean, Swan didn't trust Liane enough to share this. She only shared that with Moiraine. So that's it.
Right.
So, in addition to the White Tower arc, I just love the White. Even if I don't love the Aes Sedai organization and the way they work and the way they handle stuff, I love the chapters that we see. I love the chapters in which we see our characters living the daily life of the White Tower. It's fascinating. I wouldn't like to be an Aes Sedai. I would be out of there, kicked out of there, like on my second day. But I find it fascinating. It's kind of Hogwarts, but everyone is a bully. And you have friends of Voldemort walking around in there, so yeah, it's definitely fascinating. I love reading the White Tower chapters. But we only get some. Then the girls leave. They know they have to follow the Black Ahas to Tyr, and they don't know that Rand is also going to Tyr. They have hints because of Egwene's dreams, but that's pretty much it. And what else? Oh, something important from this vision that Egwene had when she was being raised to the Accepted is that Elida was a dark friend in that vision. So I'm worried here because that definitely should make me think that Elida is 100% a Black Aha, but it also smells like bait. You know, this wasn't a dream. This was the weird terangrial making vision. So I don't know. She definitely feels like a dark friend. But this could be bait. I don't know. And something very important that people kept raffling me was what happened to the terangrial when Egwene was leaving it? Because right before Egwene was entering the terangrial that makes you unaccepted, one of the Aes Sedai handling it said, it has been acting a little bit weird, it has been making this reverberation, but it's safe to use. Okay, go on, Egwene, and Egwene goes out. But when she's inside of it and when she sees the last way out, she walks through the way out and she feels as if she was being disintegrated. Because there's like, I almost remember the quote, not exactly, but I remember it said that she was torn to pieces, from pieces to hairs, from hairs to threads, and from threads to nothing, and then died. And that's how the chapter ends. And then we have another chapter, and the new chapter starts with the same thing. But then she was like remade. It was as if she was unmade and then made again. Suspicious. And everyone was worried outside of the terangrial because it started changing colors and it started making noises and vibrating. So a big raffle related to what happened in there. Is that a thing that we'll get an explanation later? Please tell me yes.
There are two things that I'm thinking that it could be. One is obviously a raffle that I can't talk about yet. But one is what I was thinking while I read it, is that she had the dream terangrial that Varen gave her. And she had to, take her clothes off and go in. And I was thinking then that maybe it's these two terangrial that have, access to other worlds fighting each other for it, and Egwene... I think it's Egwene is in it. She,
yeah.
I think it's just like residual, because it is right there, and she is just like, oh my gosh, I hope nobody discovers this. So to them, it's like, oh, that was weird. Let's hope it doesn't
But
happen
it's
again.
not inside. She's not wearing it or having it with her as she walks in. She left it behind with her clothes and her stuff. But they were very close. Those two devices. They were very close to each other.
Yeah, because that's what I'm thinking. Is that because they were close? Because I made the comparison that giant triangle for the accepted test is basically a virtual reality like thing where you go in, you experience this different life and stuff like that. And I think we talked about the last episode. You asked me like when Nynaeve did it, if I thought of it that way, and I was like, yes, like it seems like a virtual reality, sci-fi object. And I think it's those two being close together is what's happening. It's kind of like when you have a magnet close to a computer and it's a little like wonky and weird. That's what I'm thinking. It's like you have a magnet close to an electronic. So it doesn't happen again when she walks away with the triangle, so they assume it's okay now.
Okay, let's make an uninformed hypothesis, because none of us is a student or a person with knowledge about psychology. I think, at least. I'm not. I don't know about you.
I'm not at all. I never took one in college. I should have.
Okay, but whatever these, let's go for the hypothesis that this terangrial to become an accepted is like a virtual reality device, because I think it was told that this was never confirmed in the saga, but implied. It was like left to your imagination how that device worked. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so if we go for the virtual reality hypothesis, we know that this device, even if it creates something that is not like a vision from the future or something happening in other part of the planet, it is something that could be real, and is something, the device is taking something out of your mind to create that reality, because it shows you people it shows you places and stuff that you are scared of. So it takes something from inside your, let's say, subconscious mind. And at the same time, again, uninformed hypothesis, because I don't know anything about psychology, I'm a chemistry student. We know that somehow dreams are connected in real life and in this saga with your subconscious mind. So maybe what you thought, that these two devices were fighting for her subconscious like content, is a good call, actually. Because definitely dreaming and the hidden stuff that we keep in our minds, those are connected. Dreaming is the place in which in real life you can see the stuff that you don't realize you think, or the stuff you don't realize you feel. And particularly Ewin, now talking about the saga, she can see stuff that are in her dreams. So it's very hard for me to decide if I could label Elida as a dark friend after that dream. That could be like a very blunt foreshadow, or that could be bait. Because obviously, Elida doesn't have like the most friendly personality. That's very clear from the beginning of the book. Of the book 2, of book 1, in which she shows up for the first time. That's very clear. She's not friendly. She's a tough lady with a bad temperament. And I can see Ewin not trusting her because of that. And because she's asking all of these questions about Rand. But is that enough to assume that she is Black Aha? Maybe Ewin's minds is playing a trick to her. So I don't know.
Do you want to make a prediction on yes or no? Just like a definite.
No, I should have to throw a dice to decide because I can't make up my mind about this. So yeah. I don't think I have anything more I want to discuss about the White Tower chapters.
Yeah, let me look through, just make sure. Because we do have Matt, and I want to talk about his healing on his segment. But, I think that's, yeah. I don't have anything else on White Tower stuff.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, what else do you think is remarkable about Egwene and Nynaeve's arc? More leaning to the last part of the book.
I really like when they meet the Aiel and we get our first introduction to Avienda, who is another favorite of mine. I like 99% of the Aiel characters, but that's her first major appearance. I guess the only appearance or introduction. But she, because on the trip to Tia, they meet a group of Aiel, and one of them is in need of healing, and Nynaeve is like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And
she has to get mad before she can do that. That's so fun.
Yeah, she keeps being mean to all the other Aiel, being like, do not do this, this, that, the other. And she's able to heal, which is really funny. And they're like, oh my gosh, you should go to this place called Ruridian, so you can, become a wise one with us. And we get this pair of first sisters named Bane and Chiad, who is another fan favorite. They mock Avienda for still not going to Ruridian, and kind of ignoring, what people are telling her to do.
Oh, so does that mean that she has the potential to become a wise one, Avienda?
That's the implication here, because Bane and Chiad, they're like, why haven't you gone yet? And that. So I had to make sure, check my wording when I was writing this note.
Okay, very interesting.
But I really like when they get captured, and the Aiel saved them. Gaul, no, not Gaul. I think Walk is there, or Ruach. Everyone says Ruach.
Yeah, it was very sweet. It was kind of Ruach.
Yeah, and he comes and helps them, and they help Nynaeve and Elaine and Egwene get out, and I think it shows how awesome the Aiel are, that they killed multiple Myrddraal and Trollocs and, all that. So.
They certainly are very powerful, very mighty, and proficient fighters.
I mean, we get a whole thing where there's a group of women in the culture called the Maidens of the Spear, so. I
love
can't
that.
wait for you to learn more about the Aiel, so. So I want to say more, but I can't.
Yeah, I really like them. I mean, I'm pretty straightforward. Whenever I like something, I like it right from the beginning, like Matt, for example, or the Aiel people, the people of the dragon. Some characters I have learned to love a little bit more, but yeah, I pretty much know whenever something is going to make me hyped, and the Aiel people, they are hyping me.
Do you want to talk about Mother Gwenna?
Mother Gwenna.
She's so motherly.
She's very reminiscent of the way that women behave in the Two Rivers. That was like some a, a gasp of fresh air for the people, for the girls, and also for Matt when he meets her, because they have been away from their families for so long, and suddenly finding someone who has this familiar vibe, even if it's someone from the other side of the world, a completely different culture, someone who is making this fishing references all the time that they don't get because they are people from the inland and they don't have a sea. Uh, it's adorable. I love her. I wonder if she is how do I say this? If she is somehow family with the Amerlin Seed, because they kept saying that they sound very similar. And it sounded as if it was not just the accent. I wonder if they are sisters or cousins or something like that. It would be amazing.
I'll just say it. People have theories that she is. We don't ever get like a thing about it, because in dialogue she says when they're talking to Egwene that she used to have a daughter who like went out to see the world or whatever, and she speaks very familiarly with Swan. And like ever since I heard that people had that, I completely subscribed to it. She's also, you know, just wonderful. I mean, if I don't know if RJ had notes saying that they are, if like people are still making, you know, like theories on it, because I feel like it would have been confirmed, but I'll check on that. I subscribe to the theory that they are related.
Me too.
And
I subscribe.
I had a huge smile on my face as you were saying that, because I was waiting to see if you like noticed, and you did. So again, you're paying really close attention. So I'm really happy, you know.
Yeah,
Because
I
I
am.
was not doing any of this when I was reading, because this was at the point where I was binging these books, you know, straight through, not paying attention to little details. I like the big, you know, stuff. Later I do the little details, but like on second reads.
Yeah, I can understand that. Okay, I agree. She's amazing. I would really like her to be the mother of the Amerlin Seed.
I just love that. That you thought that. What did you think of the thief catcher, Julian, the guy that they hired to find the Black Aja and the Tia?
I mean, I never suspected him of being bad. So whenever he was uncovered to be leading Nynaeve to the Black Ajas, I was very disappointed. But then it was kind of implied that he was forced to do stuff by Leandrin. Kind of as, do you remember the Imperial thing in Harry Potter in which you would cast this spell, and or the Geas spell in D&D, that you can command someone and they had to obey? Well, it's not like Vic Geas, but it doesn't matter. The thing is, I think that he was forced to obey Leadrin. And I would go ahead and say he was not evil. He was a good fellow because he had Matt later and he was feeling definitely very guilty. But he also fled after the whole tier battle. So, I don't know. I liked him. He looked cool. He reminded me also of Tom because he was cunning. He was dexterous with the knives. I don't know. He was cool. Even if he is definitely like he is a rogue. If we put him in the D&D classes, he is a rogue, and definitely Tom is a bard. But yeah,
Yeah.
I want him to be cool.
What else? Oh, there was a really creepy moment. I didn't write it down. I was listening to a First Reader podcast, and they mentioned how scary this was when Nynaeve, or Egwene, I guess, since she has the ring, she's in Tel'aran'rhiod, and like Liandrin just shows up, like, because she falls asleep and like realizes she's in the world of dreams, opens her eyes, and Liandrin is like right there, staring at her, and smiles, and Egwene leaves, and I was like, oh my god, I totally forgot that until I was reminded of it, and I was like, that's such a creepy moment. And that's when, you know, I think Julian shows up shortly after and says, like, hey, I'll be your thief catcher. I can't remember the timeline, but
no, it's before, because that dream in which they see Liandrin, I think it was more close to the time they were leaving Tarvalon, or they were traveling. It was there. It was not when they were in Tyr.
Oh, okay.
And actually, Julian, this thief catcher, was suggested by Mother Gena. She said he was the best and he was trustworthy. So that's why I was so disappointed that he sold them. Then it was as if he had done that under, like, the usage of the one power, as if he was forced. Oh man, is there something that these channelers cannot do? I mean, they can pretty much do whatever they want.
The one power is very
versatile, I would say.
That was the word I was looking for, but I forgot it. Yeah, that's a perfect way to describe it, is versatile. There's a lot you can do, and there's a whole lot that you'll learn. Even to the last book that people use the one power for. You'll be like, what? What can they not do? Like, you'll think that every book. So, I can't wait to see some of your reactions to new uses.
Yeah, me either. But yeah, I mean, that lady is creepy as hell. She's horrible and we hate her. That's the only Aes Sedai I wish was turned into Adamane. That's how much I dislike her. She deserves it.
I mean,
she truly does.
She's so, like, suspicious the first time we meet her. In, like, book 2, I guess, is when we meet her.
Yes.
And she's like, hey, let's go. And, like, she's so obvious that she's lying. And we know Aes Sedai cannot lie. And so immediately we're like, okay, what is she doing? Like, who is she? And then, of course, she's like, hello, Soth, here's, 3 Damani or whatever. And Men, I think, escapes, and so does Elaine. And it's just Egwene as Khalid. So.
Yes, only Egwene. Mamma mia. Yeah, she's horrible. She's a perfect evil character. Very easy to hate, very disgusting, very scary, very powerful. I hope she bloody burns later on the saga.
Talking like Matt. But, do we want to do Matt now? Before we talk about the invasion of the Stone of Tyr? Because that is kind of like the big set piece at the end.
Yeah, that's definitely the avalanche. Of course, I love Matt. I love him ever since the beginning. He is amazing. I had this friend Tommy who said he found it kind of weird that suddenly Matt is a gambler, but I don't know. I mean, it was pretty smooth for me. I think it was. I mean, I bought that. The thing that he was used to gamble, to play dice, that he was good. It fit the character. Was it all for you, for example, finding out that bane he had for tossing the dice?
I kind of knew ahead of time before even starting the books that one of the characters was a gambler. So when I found out it was Matt, I was like, I mean, of course. I mean, he's the troublemaker. He's the guy who, I guess he takes gambles. That's his character. I mean, all the pranks that he did from the first chapter, even before we got him on screen, we knew of him as a troublemaker who did pranks. I mean, what's a prank if not gambling? That no one's going to realize it's you. He powdered up a dog and let it loose on the the village green, or badger, I think it was, actually. And so I could see it, though, because it's really hard to really get much Matt, like, being natural. Because it's like soon after book 1 starts, he gets cursed by the dagger. And we don't get, like, him in his element until this book, after he's healed. And after he's eaten a lot of food to get rid of the hunger of the healing. So,
Well, I had the advantage of having read Ravens. Even if that text is written as an Egwene point of view, the way that she regards Matt whenever he is around, it's very fitting of him. It's like a good description. So even if it's a little chapter, I would say that helped me get a little bit of him ahead and, let's say, unspoiled by the dagger side effects. So it wasn't weird for me that he was a gambler. It felt natural. Like something new I was learning about this character that was a part of him and was not like smacked, stapled to his arc. I like that. And then he has some luck. I mean, it's an unnatural luck. I remember the first time I saw luck as kind of a power, it was in a Deadpool movie. I haven't read much Marvel comics. I am more of a DC fan, so I didn't know that was a thing. I don't know if that's a thing in the comic books as well. But there was this girl whose superpower was that she was lucky. So imagine it as open as that. You are lucky. Everything you try works out for you. It's a damn powerful superpower to have, right? And I'm curious to see how that works. Apparently, he has always been lucky, but ever since the dagger, he is more lucky.
It's my favorite part of his character is his luck. I'll say that now. But there's one thing I want to talk about before he's healed. Is that they show up. Let me make sure I find the note. I had it here somewhere. So there's 2 notes, actually. So the first one is that originally Matt was going to die, and that Swan was just going to let him die when, like, not heal him from the dagger, because she wanted to control who the Hornblower was, give it to someone she knew, and she knew that she could control. And she says this out loud, like, kind of as a reference that he was going to do this.
Yes,
and
she does.
Who else but Varen makes the suggestion multiple times in that scene, saying to save him. And so, I mean, we don't have to go into stuff.
Yeah.
Replace the word stuff with something else. But
yeah,
this was because I'm keeping my eye out now for these type of interactions, because again, I mean, she gave the ring to Egwene. She's like very helpful. She's great. And this is the moment where I was like, Varen is the best. I love her so much. She saved Matt. Even though I didn't think they would ever actually kill him, because I know he's a major character. But, like, if this book had just come out and I'd read it, you know, a week after release, I would have been, like, on the edge of my seat, being like, oh no, Matt's gonna die, Matt's gonna die. Oh, thank you, Varen, you know. And I don't know if you want to say anything else on that, but I thought it was really interesting when I found that out from his notes. That
was it like a potential way of things going? When Robert Jordan was writing the book, he was like, yeah, I'm gonna kill Matt, and then he said, no, I won't.
Yeah, because it was a very early note, because he started outlining in like 84, 85, Either world came out in 1990. So, like, he spent 5 years. And it's just giant, like, file folders full of paper of just his notes. And it's just in giant boxes at the University of South Carolina now. And so when people find notes by him, I don't think they've gone through everything, by the way. Not many people go and visit and look. And when they do, it's like they have, just a couple of hours before the library closes. So I'm a state over from there. I have been thinking very seriously about going down there and seeing his notes.
Yeah, how long would it take you to make a road trip to that place and arrive at the library? A couple hours?
I'm going to put it into Google Maps and see the... Because, like...
I mean, I definitely want to go, but I would have to drive for, like, a month to arrive.
Oh, man, okay, my internet's shutting down doing this. Okay, I'll do that later. Just remind me. I'll probably look it up anyways and be like, oh, man, 5 hours. I doubt it would be 5 hours. It takes about that long to get to the beach, and I'm in the center of the state. But, another note of his that he wrote that I think still kind of stayed. It just wasn't talking about out loud. Is that Matt was going to have, and I guess does have, an insecurity about not growing up as fast as the others. Because he sees Perrin, and he sees Rand, and they grew up really fast. And Matt is still, like, joking around. He's doing his pranks. And, especially now that he has his luck, and we see him, gambling, and he, I want to say it's, like, right before he, gets attacked in the, like, roofs of Tavalon, when he's in the bar and he meets with Tom for the first time in forever. Doesn't even know he's still alive, which is something that no one talks about. That's his first time seeing him since book 1.
Yeah, I did notice that. It was a meaningful moment, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I want to say it was that scene. He's like, he focuses on the toughest guy and is like, I want to bet against you. And so we still see him doing this. Like, and it's not ever said explicitly, but I do feel as if he is a bit insecure, of his friends who, one of his friends is the frickin' dragon Reborn, and he has, he has it now. He's accepted it. And he's still being like, I'm bloody done with this, that bloody Nynaeve making me go do this. Oh, I gotta carry this letter. Oh my gosh. He just, like, hates it. He is so stubborn, again.
I mean, I don't have enough reading done yet to say if he feels insecure about this, but I can say that he is probably on the way to that place, because so far he has blown the horn. Then he has had to make this long trip to get healed, and he has recovered. That's pretty much the first half of the Dragon Reborn. And then he wants out. He starts the gambling and he finds Tom Merlin. He does all that as he was trying to escape the Aes Sedai, the plotting, the Dragon Reborn thing. He was trying to go away. He was trying to get away. And he had no idea where Perrin or Rand were. So he's going away. He's doing this favor for his friend, for Elaine, about delivering the note, the letter from her to her mother. And when shit gets real, the guy just cuts the silliness, cuts the jokes, and he acts as a mature person. He makes the decision and he is very secure of himself. He's like, I'm going to rescue my friends. And he just trusts his luck. He goes and does it, and when they are done with the stone and with the tear and with all the avalanche, he's like, I'm out of here. And that's at the very end of the book that he realizes he's deep down into that whole Dragon Reborn business as well. That's when he realizes that there's no way out for him. He thought there was way out for him, but there's not. He realizes, and I think that's probably the beginning to him maybe feeling insecure in comparison to Rand and Perrin, because Perrin is, I'm not saying he has the Wolf Brother thing figured out, but he knows enough by now. He has learned a lot. He's been doing stuff with those abilities. Rand has definitely been doing stuff with his abilities. And what of him? He messed around with the wrong dagger. He got almost killed by that curse. He just went gambling and tried to save his friends, but they made him feel as if they really didn't need any saving, any rescuing. And what about him now? Oh yeah, I could see him facing a little existential crisis now. But I don't think that he will. Maybe when you say that he's not growing as fast, you mean it growing as in getting more powerful, but as in being mature. I think he is mature enough. That's just maybe overshadowed by his personality, which is playful and silly and funny and amazing. But yeah, that's probably what I have just said, a good prediction to what he's going to end up doing, but I would not qualify it entirely as a prediction because pretty much you told me the main thing of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if insecure is the right word on how I feel about him, but I think it is like accepting the situation is what it takes him. Is like what I mean, because Rand, I mean, it takes him a while, but he kind of knows deep down. I mean, from the moment that Tam says, like, in his fever dream, like, oh, I found a baby in the snow. Like, he was immediately, Rand was like, oh no, I'm not someone who I thought I was. And so from then on, identity crisis, basically. That's his name of the game, is him just not feeling that. And Perrin, he has his, like, I'm not a wolf, but then is doing, wolf stuff. And using, Tel'aran'rhiod, even though Hopper tells him, like, you're too young, you shouldn't be doing this is dangerous. But Matt, he just fights everything. But what I like about Matt a lot is that he's going to do the right thing anyways, even if he feels himself not accepting doing that. Because, like, I mean, even the part when he's sending the letter and he hears the plot to kill Elaine, and immediately he's like, I need to get out of here. But first I'm going to go tell Morghese, and he goes to Morghese and finds out, oh no, her advisor is the one who said that. Oh god, this is such a bad situation. I'm out of here. And he and Tom leave and go to Tia. And as much as he hates this entire situation, he's doing the right thing. He's loyal to his friends, such as loyal. I wanted to double repeat that word in different. But, yeah, like, he's just a really good person, but he doesn't want to do any of it. And there's a really funny moment later, like, just in a few books or so, where this has turned up to, like, 11. Like, this entire type of situation. And it's so funny. But I just love Matt for that he just really is going for, being a good person. Even though he doesn't want to. I'm no bloody hero, he says a lot, so.
Yeah. Something interesting about Matt, I mean, I agree with everything you said. That was a very eloquent way to describe what he's been up to, the way he's been acting, the way he is. But I got some stuff that smell like foreshadow, but I'm not sure, about him liking Elaine maybe a little bit too much. A little bit more than as a friend. And I don't know, maybe I'm just imagining stuff, but there have been people implying that, and he would be like, oh, no, no, no. But that's definitely a mad thing to do, to say no, 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 and be falling for someone. So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, he's always thinking about her this entire book, especially when he gets the letter. I mean, I want to control F, search her name in his chapters and see how many times he mentions Elaine, because it is a lot, and I can see that a lot.
Yeah.
So
Mother Gena says something about that too, and Tom Merrilin too. He keeps mentioning, oh, you need to love a few women or two, or maybe you already haven't. I don't know. Maybe I smell a triangle in here. Maybe, because clearly, pretty obviously, Elaine has a huge crush for Rand ever since she saw him for the first time. I mean, apparently he is that hot that every girl puts their eyes on him and they are like, bleh, melted. But I don't know. I don't know.
do you think he'll go on this triangle? Or this sneaky smell of a triangle?
I think it could be a thing, because everyone mentions that there are like enormous, gigantic romantic dramas in the Wheel of Time. So this has enough potential to be one of these romantic dramas. But I don't know. I don't want him to have a crush for Elaine, because he will be heartbroken. I hope that I don't want to think about this option, but what if the reason why everyone hates Elaine is because she does something very horrible and very mean to Matt, taking advantage of maybe him liking her? I wouldn't like that at all. It would make me very, very disappointed. We don't know. Arrafo, I guess.
Yeah. I can't really say anything at all, whether yes or no.
Mm-hmm. I want to know, which book do you think is the book that makes everyone hate Elaine?
Well, when Cal was talking about it, he mentioned 7. There's a specific event that happens. And it's the way that she reacts that's when a lot of people hate her. For me, I just took it out of my head. It's the entire event itself is something I don't like at all, and it's out just so.
So you dissociated, right?
Yeah.
From the whole event?
Yeah. So.
Okay. But yeah, Matt, he is amazing. And what else is there to say? I mean, it felt for me something that was indeed very weird and smelled a lot of plot armor was the fight that he had with Gawain and Galad. I was like, come on. He can't be that good. I mean, we have seen him fighting against Trollocs and stuff, and nobody ever mentioned him being this proficient in fight. But yeah, okay, I guess I'll take it, and I will accept that. I mean, the other thing that was very stinky of plot armor was when in the Great Hunt at the end, Rand fight against this Sunshine Lord who was a sword master, and he beat him. I was like, come on, really, a sword master and stupid Rand who has never been in a fight before beat him? And everyone would be like, yeah, but he's a Taveren. Okay, let's call Taveren nature the plot armor, because that was plain plot armor. And this feels a little bit like that too, but we have the card of the luck, and the luck has been enhanced after the dagger. So, I don't know. I'm taking this with tweezers, because I don't know, it could be a thing of the luck, or it could be plot armor. But it was weird for me that he was suddenly so good with the quarter stuff. Enough to beat 2 people who had train all of their lives, and they were using kind of practice swords or something like that.
Yeah.
A more dangerous weapon, definitely.
I'll say for the Rand thing, I agree with you. That it was a bit plot armor. And what people joke about all the time is that they'll be like, yeah, I really didn't like this. It felt like it felt like the pattern was coming in. Because, it's in the story itself. RJ just canonized basically plot armor and called it the pattern. This must happen, or the story must continue, or, But for the map thing, knowing what I know, first of all, it's a fan favorite scene. Everybody loves this. Everyone I've seen, I'd say like 80-90% of the fandom love this. And I remember I was like, okay. I actually forgot this moment until it was brought up to me during one of the episodes. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. But I think for this, wait and reevaluate in a few books. So.
Okay.
But the Turok fight, I was like, okay. So I agree with you on that.
Yeah, sometimes plot armor is necessary. The only author that I have consumed that doesn't make anything feel like plot armor is Brandon Sanderson. The only time I felt like there was some plot armor was with Mistborn Era 1, but then suddenly there was an explanation, and there was foreshadowing for that. So I think that's something very hard to achieve, and I don't blame authors or directors of a TV show or an anime, a movie or anything, or writers of a book, a story. I don't blame them if they have to use the plot armor resource. But it's not as pleasant as a well-developed character arc. That's just something meh, in my opinion.
Yeah, it'll come back. It is a very, Mistborn Era 1 moment where it's like, oh, okay. Any time Ben gets thrown into a wall and, choked by someone really hard, in my head, I'm like, yeah, her ribs will be broken. So fast. And I get, the one medal. I'm reading Mistborn right now, and I forgot what it's called, but it's the one that strengthens you, and strengthens your body, and yeah, sure, but the
pewter.
Pewter is what she was using, but so is the other guy, and it doesn't negate it. He's much bigger than her. I think of the scene in the second one when they try to kill Elend, and she makes that guy's head explode. He's crushing her entire body and also using it, and I don't get why it negates each other. It's like a big car smashing into a small car. No matter what, that small car is getting demolished. I don't know.
In my opinion, there was good reason for all of that happening. But damn, that scene was hardcore and very gore. A lot of gore. I sometimes forget because Sanderson is such a sweet person. He writes such sweet characters with such touching emotional moments that then you forget that sometimes he goes violent.
This one moment with them of war, how violent Cannon did.
I know. I know what you're thinking about. Yeah. But I said it before. I keep thinking about Brandon Sanderson a lot because of how touched and sad I get about the sad death of Robert Jordan, and I am so worried about how much I'm going to like or dislike the things that Sanderson does with all of these characters. And I keep thinking, okay, but Robert Jordan does this, but Sanderson does that differently, so how is this going to solve this arc or this character? And Sanderson was a younger writer when he wrote this, so that's the reason I keep and I don't have any spoilers in my head, so that's why I keep thinking and just thinking and thinking about it, overthinking about how is it that Sanderson will handle all of these situations in comparison to how has he handled, I don't know, Mistborn, Stormlight Archive. I'm worried, I want to read. It's very frustrating coming from someone who has read Sanderson before, because unfortunately, I only knew and find out about the Wheel of Time existence after reading Sanderson. I didn't know it before. Didn't know it existed. So it is the other way around for most people in the world. They first knew Robert Jordan and then Sanderson. I don't know. I'm in a complicated spot with this topic.
Yeah, I will say that for book 12, the first one he wrote, he had like no beta readers at all. And so there's a lot of choices he made where you're like, what the hell is going through his head? And there's a few moments of that where I discussed it on the episode, which, you know, I'll ask you when we do it on how you felt about some decisions. But when I found out he had no beta readers, I was like, yeah, of course. I mean, he's so used to the, 30 to 50 people, looking at it and responding, oh, was this natural, was this not? And it was for 13 and 14, he had a lot more.
What is the exact role of a beta reader? I'm not familiar with that. I know that they are there reading the books and saying stuff, but what is more exactly what they do?
So what they do is that they go through and try to find any inconsistencies, whether it's the plot, like...
Oh, they are the police.
Yeah, basically.
They are the timeline police.
Yeah, because the beta readers...
That must be a fun job.
Yeah, but, I mean, as much as I want to be a beta reader, because I get to see it first, it's in a much more rough shape. And I believe the alpha readers, the first round, is his reading circle. And the beta readers is like just, Shodcast, Drew McCaffrey from Eking Out Loud. He's always a beta reader because he just has a really good mind for that, of recalling details. And basically they just go through, read it. Oh, this part, like... I know you were trying to be scary, but it wasn't. It was kind of goofy. Okay, gotta reread a lot of scenes. Like, there was a couple scenes in, like, Rhythm of War, which I won't spoil it, but apparently it just fell flat. Like, and it took Brandon, 4 or 5 drafts to finally get it to where the beta readers were like, okay, yeah. Like, okay, you nailed it. So.
Okay. Right, so did Robert Jordan use beta readers as well?
Maybe. I've never thought about to research that, but his wife was his editor. She lives with him. So she probably edited it with him every day. I mean, I don't know if this is true, but I remember someone saying that RJ was the type of writer who would do like 2 or maybe 3 drafts. Where he would finish the book, hand it to
what writer? Taco writer?
No, one of those, just a writer who only does like 2 or 3 drafts of like a book. Because he's just like so good, and he gives it to his wife who edits it. And then brings it back, because she knew him like very well. Obviously, I mean, husband, wife. But,
of course.
Like, she's also one of the best editors that Toy ever had. The company that did Wheel of Time, Sanderson, other books, other authors. I only know those 2 really from Toy, but she was one of the best ones. So she really knew how to make all his drafts really good. So they didn't really need Brandon's 5 drafts that he does for everything.
Wow, That's mighty of them, of this couple.
They were definitely a power couple.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, something I noticed with this book in the end was that, as I said before, these 3 books that I have read so far have the same structure. And I don't want that to keep happening, because I don't want the saga to to become repetitive. But at the same time, this is a saga about a cycle that keeps repeating itself as the wheel weaves of the threads of the pattern and stuff. But I don't know, I mean, I didn't feel at any moment that Rand was going to be defeated. These are some of the issues I had with the ending. I told you before, I like the book, but I had some issues with the end. I never felt like Rand wasn't going to win. And for example, in Stormlight Archive or in Mistborn Era 1, for example, I knew that the characters were going to win, but I was seriously concerned because at some points I was like, man, there's no way out of this. There's no way out. What are they going to do? And I was genuinely worried about them. And then they would do something. Sometimes in one of the sagas I mentioned, the consequences of those situations were lethal for some of the characters, even main characters. But and that was like, that felt really realistic and satisfying. Well, obviously sad, but satisfying in the sense that, yeah, that makes sense. That situation was simply too much for anyone. So it's okay that stuff happened the way they happened. But with the Wheel of Time, I always get the avalanche, and I am like, yeah, Rand is going to channel so much that he's going to win, and he's going to feel as if he's about to explode, but also as if he had like the best joint ever in his life, and he's going to get super high on cocaine superpower, on cocaine true power, and yeah, he's going to win. And I never get this sense of danger for him, and I don't like that. I want to be worried about him. I mean, he keeps defeating all of the enemies. Is that the point of being the Dragon Reborn? Because, yeah, I mean, as I started the saga, I said, I want to be a dragon. I want to be the Dragon Reborn because that sounds so interesting, so powerful, so mighty. And they were like, no, don't be the Dragon Reborn. That sucks. And I understand why they say that sucks, because you get a little crazy. You have a lot of pressure, a lot of political power that is definitely not easy to handle. But damn, if I'm going to beat the stupid Forsaken as if it was nothing, then yes, I want to be the Dragon Reborn. I want to channel so much and do stuff with it. So, an issue in here.
Well, I will say this, is that this is the thing that Brandon actually talked about in his live stream, where you said you kind of felt spoiled. He does defeat the enemy every book until Dragon Reborn. And after this, it doesn't do that anymore, honestly. From now on, it no longer follows this formula where everyone kind of splits in the beginning of the book, and then they have their adventures. They all come together, Faldara,
And Rand wins.
Falmer, like all that, yeah. And that doesn't happen anymore. The next book, everyone splits, and that's it for a very long time. So sometimes you'll get people reuniting, you'll meet new characters, and they go off and do stuff. I mean, there's 149 POVs, like people, like chapters. So we're finally breaking out of the mold in the next book, and this is when that's why I call the first 3 books phase 1. Phase 2 is them doing a singular arc, basically, because the way that the big ending that I talked about earlier of book 6, that's the end of phase 2, in my opinion. And then phase 3 is 7 through 10, 11 maybe. And then phase 4 is Brandon, basically. But yeah, I mean, you don't need to be worried anymore. No more Forsaken showdowns at the end of the book. And
I'm happy that this cycle will break. Okay. So yeah, that was. I mean, I feel more at ease now that you say that kind of format pattern tendency of the things happening in the books, the order of events, the sequences. I am glad to hear that that is going to change, because yeah, otherwise it would feel too repetitive, and I was worried because I am like, I have 11 more books of this. I don't want this to get repetitive at all. But then I was like, come on, Alfonsina, be at ease, because if this was a repetitive saga, your your good tasted friends wouldn't have told you to read it. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and trust and keep reading and keep rafoing. Keep reading and finding out.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, like, our main characters sometimes disappear
But yeah,
for
that's
books,
pretty much.
like, throughout the series. Sometimes they'll just not be around during a book. So, yeah. I can't say too much more on that, but...
Oh. Okay, so now, as if we start to wrap this book up, we have Nynaeve and Degwin having to still find and fight the Black Ahas. We have Rand wielding the most powerful magic wand ever, which is also a sword. Like, very powerful. We have Matt not knowing what to do, but being tied up to all of this mess somehow. And we have Perrin. What is going to happen to them? I have no idea. As only like prediction for the upcoming books I could manage to make is that somehow, now that Rand has finally decided to accept that he's the Dragon Reborn, he will have to deal with a lot of political stuff, political issues, probably, because that's kind of a strong statement to make, to say that you are the Dragon Reborn, the breaker of nations, and blah blah blah. So I think he will not be comfortable in a powerful political positions because of the way he is, because of his personality. I think that we have a lot of paranoia coming from him, being like, the Aes Sedai are trying to manipulate me, these noble people from Carrion are trying to do this and that, and who is a friend and who is not, who will betray me, I can trust no one, and oh, I'm going crazy, and oh, romantic drama. That pretty much sums up my prediction for Rand for the future books. For the fourth book, at least, I would say. I will not presume to make a prediction for any other book other than 4.
How do you think Calendor will be used now that he has this? Because it's supposed to be the most powerful sa'angreal ever.
I think they will not allow him to use it, or they will discourage him to use it. And when I say they, I mean, yes, Aes Sedai, because he is using the half of the power that is tainted. And even if you can wield as much power as no one can in the whole universe, the power you can wield if you are the Dragon Reborn and if you are using that sa'angreal is tainted. The power is still tainted. So I don't think it's going to be... That's kind of the in-world nerf that I think Robert Jordan included to that item, because it is so powerful that it doesn't make any sense unless it has a big flaw. And, well, we know what the big flaw is, that the power is tainted. I also think that it is probable that it will get stolen or broken, because it's simply too much. I mean, the saga would be over in book 4 or 5 if Calendar was used a lot. So something has to happen with that item.
Raffo, I guess. I can't say anything.
I know. It would be cool if it was a sentient sword. But I know it probably is not, so I'm okay with that.
So,
Imagine that calendar having a wheel of its own. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I would love that. A Nightblood situation.
Yeah.
I want to, before we finish, is talk more about the revelation at the end, which from the moment that Rand talks about how he's the Dragon Reborn, because one thing that is kind of major is that he stepped into. I'm trying to find your note, make sure I don't say anything too crazy. Ugh, I can't find it.
Sorry.
No problem. So we find out that Rand went into Talaranriad, it seems, at the end, and like physically, which I don't think we've seen at all. Usually, you have to go to sleep.
Oh, he did it. He did it physically.
At least that was the note. Yes. This note here that starts with he faces Realzamon. But yeah. That was the note you...
I remember reading that because... Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I have to go through the chapter summaries to make these notes because I don't have that good of a memory. And I did check the chapter summary at the end, and I now remember I read that he stepped into Tel Aron-Riyadh, and I was like, okay, he wasn't asleep, but he's the Dragon Reborn. I didn't interpret that as if he physically, like his body went into that place as well. I thought that his body stayed and his mind went there, even if he wasn't asleep. But now that you say that he physically went there, I'm like, interesting thing to do.
Yeah, I think it's a really major moment. I really like it. That was something I never really caught, because I was like, oh yeah, weird, Dragon Reborn stuff, like you did. Because we know nothing. It's book 3. I mean, this is the tip of the iceberg. I mean, people say Rand is the most powerful character in fantasy. I mean, and he is, with some of the stuff he does. So, that was one point I wanted to make. Another point is he finally kills Beelzebub. The last 3 books, he's had a showdown with him, and we see his body. He's dead now, so
yeah,
that's refreshing.
We have a body. Something that wasn't still very clear to me is if Balsamon was Ishamael. How do you pronounce that?
Yeah.
Ishamael. That, like, Ishamael. Okay, because it is not said Balsamon was Ishamael. It is said by Erwin. I think I saw in one of Berin's notes a mention comparing them together, speaking about them at the same time, so maybe they are the same. And Ren is like, I don't know. So I am as well like, I don't know. Was Balsamon the same as Ishamael? I don't think that thing that Ewin says qualifies as a confirmation to that.
I would
What
agree.
do you think? Is that enough?
Because you will find out yes or no. It's Serapho. So. But it is nice that he finally ended this repetitive ending, because now we can actually have, a bunch of different, Forsaken, because there's 13 of them or whatever. And you've gotten the name of Lanfear, Balthamel, Beelzemon. I have my fingers here.
Belal,
Agenoi. Samael we haven't seen, but we know of him.
We know he's the king or president or leader, political leader of Ilian.
Yep.
Ilian? Was it?
Yes. Ishamael is one. Potentially.
One who may or may not be Balsamon.
And then I don't want to say any other names because spoilers, but there's one more.
Yeah, the other two names are the ones that were. The two that were killed on the Eye of the World.
Yeah, Agenor and Belal.
Belal was in the Eye of the World?
Or Balthamel. It was one of those. There's too many B
Yeah,
names.
Balthamel. Yeah. Yeah, Balthamel and Agenor were the low challenge rating ones, if you put it in D&D terms. He kicked their asses right out.
Yeah.
Oh, and now that we're speaking of that, will we ever get any mention of the Green Man? Or was it just it? What we saw there?
Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry. So.
He was lovely.
Sad when he died.
So sad.
Another point is that Walk, otherwise known as Ruach by 100% of the fandom, he reveals that what the IL are called are the people of the dragon. Because we get a thing. I think Matt says are we the people of the dragon? We fought in Tia and all this stuff, and Walk emerges from the shadows and is like, the Aiel are the people of the dragon. And you're like, oh shit. So I love that moment. That's such a small. It's like
I love that the Aiel are the people of the dragon.
Yeah, because it's such a big moment of this battle, and then we get just one more big thing, which is awesome. So there's a lot of implications there.
Yeah, makes sense. I can imagine that.
But
I will raffle all of those implications, I guess.
Yeah. So let's go into predictions. There's not much. There's one moment I want to talk about later, which will be part of the predictions, and one of the questions I have. But what do you think Rand is going to do next?
He needs a home, a base, and he needs. I don't think he will choose to go on his own, since he considers himself so dangerous to people around him. So I think the most logical thing for him to do would be to end up going with the Aes Sedai White Tower, but being unhappy about that. Or maybe he will take refuge with the Aiel people. I mean, those feel like pretty much all the options he has. He can go back to the Two Rivers. And the waste, let me check the map, but the waste feels like it is too far, the Aiel waste. The unfolded land, the three-folded land, is it that they call it?
Yeah.
I think he will probably go to Tarvalon, because the Tarvalon witches will want to control him.
So, do you want to move on to the Nynaeve now? What you think will happen with her?
Oh, so what I wrote about what I think will happen to Nynaeve is that I think that she has to stay in the White Tower to actually do accepted stuff. What do the accepted do? They study and they explore and they kind of do research about anything they want. And Nynaeve needs seriously urgent help to be able to channel whenever she wants to. It's too dangerous that she can only do that when she's angry. So I think she has to work towards fixing that issue that she has. And I think that once she managed to channel whenever she wants, she will be able to take the test that would make her a full sister, because it was said, some somewhere, I don't remember if it was book 2 or 3, but it was said that to be raised to the full Aes Sedai title, you need to perform a channeling like situation or event under a huge amount of pressure. So she's not able to channel like that now. I think probably book 4 or 5 will be when we see Nynaeve becoming a full Aes Sedai, and I predict that she will choose Blue Aja. Because it was said, I got like a brief description about each Aja, and Blue Ajas were mentioned as the sisters who would get involved in problems, in situations, in issues. So I can see her going in that direction, because she wasn't involved in the event that led Rand, Perrin, and Matt to run away from the two rivers, but she went after them anyway. And she would step up and trying to find the Black Ajas and trying to find the stolen Ter'angreals. I think that would make sense. But also, I don't know nothing about the Grey Aja, so she could be a Grey Aja. Definitely not a red, definitely not a white. Yellow, I don't think so, I don't know why. And green, I also don't think so.
Cool theories. Maybe, I know you already said that you have no idea what Perrin's gonna do next book, but do you have any, like throughout the episode, did you have another idea of what he's gonna do, or is it still kind of nebulous?
There's something that now I remember, and I think it was a Min's vision. Something about, I don't know if it was a Min vision or if it was one of Egwene's dreams, because Egwene's dreams were very reminiscent of Min's visions. I mean, she saw Matt playing dice with some important people, she saw a bunch of stuff, and maybe it was her or Min who foretold that Perrin will have to choose between an axe and a hammer. And we see the whole deal with the hammer when he goes to this smithy and he works for this man for free because he just enjoys in this wonderful scene about him being himself with the art of blacksmithing. And maybe he will have to go to a path that makes him choose if he's going to become a fighter by Rand's side or if he's going to do whatever the hammer meant. Because the hammer is a symbol for something. When he's in Tel Aran Riot during the fight of the Tear, he has the hammer. He doesn't have an axe. So there's a symbolic thing in there between choosing one of those two. I think that's probably a good topic for book 4. Especially after you saying that book 4 is Perrin's book.
Anything? What about Matt?
Matt, I'm also worried, and I have no idea. I have no idea what is going to happen with him in book 4, but I am very worried because he said goodbye to Tom in a very scary way, as if he was not going to see him never again. And the first time that it was mentioned that Tom was coughing, I was like, I opened my eyes and I was like, damn, he's going to get sick. That ended up being true, but it doesn't look like a sickness that Mother Genna wouldn't be able to take care of. So I really hope that Tom doesn't die when Matt goes back to Mother Gaina's house. But I don't know. I got a very weird vibe after the way that Matt said goodbye to Tom. And maybe if Tom dies, that's whatever opens the following character arc for Matt. I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. It's very hard to decide what will happen to them, because as I said, it was such a neat closure, the end of this book, that now pretty much everything could happen. I mean, it is one of these moments in which Matt is a playing character of a D&D game board, and the DM would say, "What do you do now?" in Matt Mercer's voice. So you're in this place, in this situation, with this equipment. What do you do now? You can certainly try to do whatever you set yourself to do, he will say. But I don't know. No, that's a very, very difficult question.
That's okay. Who's the next one? Egwene. I guess she's the last one.
Erwin. Yeah, Egwene, I had this prediction that she, in order to follow her accepted duties, will go out of the tower and will do her research of her dreaming abilities, but at the same time doing research about the Black Ahas. I think she will travel sometime. She will be traveling around. I don't think she will stay in the White Tower as Nynaeve. Nynaeve needs help from other Aes Sedai to find a way to control her powers. Eowyn is much better at that, so I think that she's good to go alone or maybe with someone. I don't know.
Yeah, I like that.
I also predicted that she will pick Grinaha. I think that's very heavenly implied that she will probably do that. And yeah, I would definitely make that prediction myself. She will choose Grinaha. But I don't know if she will raise to a full Aes Sedai in book 4. Maybe she is, but I don't know.
Alright. Rafa, of course. But I think we have all the predictions here. There's 2 points that we did not touch on that I want to talk about that I think is major.
Okay.
So the first one is that we see Eludra again, who, if you don't remember, she's one of the Illuminators who Matt and Tom and I think Rand meet, because in book 2 the chapter houses exploded by the fireworks by Rand, Lanfear, and Loyal, I think, or Heron, someone. But either way, she gets blamed for that and she gets sent away. And there's assassins after her trying to kill her, which Eludra is not a major character, but someone we will learn more about and see more of after this book. So I'm curious what her plotline would be like, and like just thoughts about her in general.
I completely dismissed her as an important side character. Yeah, not gonna lie to you. That's what I thought. She's an unimportant character. Maybe now that you mentioned that we will learn more about her, maybe she and Matt end up having a thing, like a romantic thing? I have no idea. Yeah, this is exactly like that moment in which Che asked me, "What do you think of Logain?" And I had just finished book 1 and I was like, he exists. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I just want to throw it out there.
I did notice that she was... I did notice that she was involved in that event with the Illuminators in the Great Hunt, and I was like, oh, interesting connection. The same as when Rand, Perrin, Matt, and the Shienaran soldiers are trying to travel through the ways, they go to a steading. And in that steading, they find Aiel people. They find some maidens of the spear. And those are the same that the girls find in this book, if I'm not wrong. I think I'm pretty sure Avienda was one of those.
Yep.
So
I just remember that. I forgot that.
There are a lot of stuff like that keep happening. I'm just like, oh yeah, the world is really small, as in real life. When you find weird connections between people, you know. But I didn't read much into that. Apparently, when that happens, it means that a character is important, so I'm gonna pay more attention.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't go like crazy, like super important, but she I like her. I'll just say that she's cool. The other part I want to talk about.
Yeah, she's cool. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a really weird interaction Matt has with Morghese and with this new guy who is named Lord Gabriel. And I have some quotes here. I want to see what your predictions are and about how he is going to influence the story moving on. He Matt shows up.
He definitely casted a charm person spell on Morghese.
Let me just write that down into your predictions board. Okay, so this, if you're still listening at this 3.5 hour, this is a great talk. I've liked a lot of this. Matt is delivering the letter that Elaine has, and he's noticing a little too many weird things with Morghese. And he hands it to Morghese, and immediately he, quote, plucked the letter out of her hand, Lord Gabriel. Next, Morghese says something angrily at Matt, and, quote, the dark man laid a strong hand on her shoulder, never taking his eyes off what he was reading, and Morghese's anger melted. Very suspicious, in my opinion.
Mamma mia.
And the last one, which you may have not...
He was soothing the shit out of her.
Yeah,
that motherfucker.
This is something I didn't notice at all. Like, my first read, I was like, oh, this is weird, and I moved on with my life. So I was binging these books at this point. I had nobody to talk to. So I missed this, I forgot. But and the last quote is, tell her, this is Morghese talking, ... that I miss the quiet talks with Sheriam in her study. What does Sheriam do? What's her job title?
The mistress of the novices.
Yes. And...
right?
We know of this because we get someone threatening Nynaeve and Igraine, saying that they're going to send her to Sheriam because they acted out of turn, or I think Elida says it's to Elaine, because Elaine's like, hi, Elida, because they knew each other, like, from Andor, because she was Morghese's supervisor, basically.
Counselor.
Counselor, and Lord Gabriel now is, after she left. And why would Morghese enjoy the quiet talks with Sheriam if she's like someone you send like novices to? Because Morghese is not a full Aes Sedai at all. I mean, everyone of the queens of Andor are sent there, and that's why Elaine was there in the first place in book 1 or book 2, whoever she is. And so I just wonder why she said that. I'm curious what you think.
Maybe they are of similar age. I don't know. No, I think that Sheriam should be older than Morghese. I think they were friends, as in like in the same way that Elaine and Egwene are friends, or in the same way that Moiraine and Swan were friends, like Panas novices, Panas accepted, and that. I have no idea now. I'm worried. I'm going to pay attention, but I don't have any theory now that I can think of. It certainly is very strange.
Yeah, because when I was listening to the Real Weaves and they covered that chapter, Brett mentioned it. And I was like, why? And so I was just wondering what your thoughts were, because it is kind of suspicious why she would want to talk to the Punisher, basically. But what do you think about Lord Gabriel? Who is he? Because he swooped right in after Elida left. Elida's been gone not long.
He's a dark friend. Definitely. And I wonder if that thing that Morghese said was a cry for help. I don't know. She seems to be manipulated, charmed, as in the charm condition in Dungeons and Dragons. Or maybe this Lord Gabriel is doing something similar to Morghese, to what Liandrin did to the thief catcher, like manipulating him. Maybe he's manipulating her with the one power. That would have to mean that he is a Forsaken, because otherwise how could he like channel and be a man, basically? So we see that these Forsaken have been taking positions of powers throughout the world, in Tyr, in Ilian. Stupid Lanfear mentioned that she was from Carrion. I don't know if that was a plain lie, or if that meant that she was in her early life before becoming a Forsaken. Maybe she was from Carrion, or maybe she is working as a Carrion person in these whole events that we are reading now. But I could see this Lord Gabriel being a Forsaken. They are certainly interested in being around powerful people.
Do you think if he's a Forsaken, do you think he is someone we've met, or is it a whole new one we haven't met? Because there are 13, and I think we counted 7 that we've met, or at least heard of.
I would think he's a new one. I would go ahead and say that.
Cool. I'm trying to think anything else.
Wait. Lanfear has mentioned several times that Ishamael likes to plot, and she has mentioned like that she's got like some sort of competition between herself and Ishamael. Maybe this Lord Gabriel is that one. That would be so scary, because apparently he's a powerful one, Ishamael. I think that he could be Ishamael. That could be a thing. I'm gonna go ahead and canonize that as one of my theories, but only because I know that I'm really bad, and if I'm wrong, then so be it, I'm wrong.
But if you
I am usually wrong about predictions.
Don't worry, I write down a lot of predictions or comments that you make.
That would be scary. That would be very scary if Ishamael was manipulating Morghese. I also think that Morghese days are counted, because if we have Elaine having such an important role in the series, that probably means that she will become the Queen of Anders at some point of the saga. And everyone hating her makes me think that she probably becomes queen and does something that most people consider terrible. So maybe Morghese is screwed. Especially if she's got a Forsaken as a counselor by her side.
So what happens to Morghese then? Is she gonna die?
Yeah, definitely. She's gonna die. I don't know in which book, but she will die. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean it as in she will die of old age when she's 18. No, she will be killed. Or she will kill herself. I don't know. She's going to die. Like, at some point of her life, which is not expected to die. And the other thing I got was, as I was reading the description of Tarvalon, being such a beautiful place, such a wonderful city from the age of legends and blah blah blah, and this amazing architecture, I was like, Tarvalon is gonna burn. I don't know why. I mean, I kept reading how beautiful it was, and I got the feeling that it would be a perfect scene for a chaotic moment, for an avalanche moment, that we have like a scourge of Tarvalon and the city is destroyed. So that's something I think will happen. And Camelin probably too, but I think that the scourge of Tarvalon will be a more dramatic one. Camelin will probably fall in the wars.
When do you think these cities will fall? Do a guess per city. Like which book?
Okay, I have read chapter 1 of Shadow Rising, which before Shadow Rising I could have said that Tarvalon will burn by later books like 8 or 10 or 9. But after what I read in the Shadow Rising, maybe that will happen a little sooner. Maybe that's something that could happen a little sooner. Anyway, Tarvalon seems like it would be too much for it to completely fall and be destroyed as I imagine. It would be too much for that to happen in an early book. So I think Tarvalon is in a dangerous situation right now in book 4, but I could go ahead and say no, it will be after book 8 or during book 8, from there on at some point.
And Camelin?
I think definitely Camelin will fall. I don't know, because if Camelin falls, then Elaine can become the queen. Or maybe she can become the queen, but don't have like a capital city anymore. Now, Camelin, I don't know. I don't got any foretelling vibe for Camelin. I just know that it's in a complicated situation. I mean, it's no surprise after there was almost like a civil war in there, from which this Lord Gabriel came out. He came out as one of the supporters of Queen Morghese in the civil war that was between book 2 and 3. So yeah, it is in a complicated political position. But Tarvalon, I think that is going to burn. I hope it's not because of Rand, because Rand is the breaker of nations and all of that horrible title, so I hope he is not responsible for that. But I don't know, I mean, I'm also influenced by The Lord of the Rings, so I expect these gigantic battles in which you have two enormous armies crashing against each other, like we have in Two Towers and in The Return of the King. So maybe I'm biased by that. By those wars.
Well, the obvious follow-up question then is which two armies? If you saw that.
I mean, I think that probably Rand is going to have an army, because there's a lot of people supporting him after the Falme. After the Falme event, in which he was seen fighting Balsamon in the sky, there are a lot of people claiming to support him, and after, well, the people in Tyr, they are also claiming to support him, and also the Isle people. So let's put all of these bunch of people supporting Rand as the Rand people. I would say them fighting against, I don't know, Sunshans, Whiteloaks, Trollocs, maybe the three of them together at different places but at the same time. We now see that Padam Fane is influencing the White Cloaks, and we see that this questionnaire is a dark lens. So,
all right. Well,
I don't know.
Any last thoughts about the whole book? Anything
Nah,
else?
that was pretty much it. I really liked it. I enjoyed it a lot. I kept feeling like I will enjoy it so much more on my second read through. I am sure I will enjoy it even more. Because many parts stink of foreshadowing, and I love foreshadowing when I can appreciate it, which I am not so able to do now.
Yeah,
it's an amazing book.
And
I'm definitely glad that the cycle of... Yeah. I'm definitely glad that you told me that this cycle will end. The same cycle we got in 1, 2, and 3. People together, people separating each other, having adventures, fighting, winning, getting together. I'm glad that's over now.
Yeah. But, yeah, this is great. I really like this conversation. It's 3 hours and 46 minutes. So, and all of it was really good. I mean,
Mamma mia.
We didn't take a break. There were so many great predictions. Some that I'm going to have to, immediately tell people about because I'm just kind of blown away by some of them. And I'm so happy I have this predictions board. At the end of the series, when you're done, we're going to do a Kahoot game. And we're going to see how right you are. And we're going to grade past you. It's going to be so fun. Because once you finish, it's going to be so fun.
It will be so fun.
But thank you for joining. This is awesome.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be here. I really enjoy it. It's like I finished the book and I enjoy the moment in which I'm thinking about everything we are going to be able to talk, every connection with the Lord of the Rings, Dungeons and Dragons, anime, or anything that I can connect and I can share with you. It's amazing. It's very fun.
Yep. Well, thank you everyone for listening. We're going to be back here soon with Shadow Rising. I cannot wait. I love this book. It's one of the best favorites of the entire fandom. So, I have some instructions for you, which I'll give you later. Because there are some key sequences throughout this series, this book. So, thank you everyone for listening, and I hope to see you guys next time.